Chapter 70. Then why did you refuse? Brother, have you become stupid from all the herbs? Wang Mingbao's eyes widened. I said another day. It's not easy to walk on a mountain road if I go back late, Wang Yao said calmly. I really admire you, Wang Mingbao said. After saying goodbye to his friends, Wang Yao drove home. He parked his car and went up the hill. Why did you get an eagle? Zhang Xiaoying asked as soon as they went up the hill. Oh, I forgot to tell you about it. Did I scare you? Wang Yao just remembered that he forgot to tell his mother about it when he went down the hill. It's okay. Luckily, San Xian reminded me, Zhang Xiaoying said. Why is there a bandage on its wings? It was injured and fell into the herbal field. It can't fly for the time being. I put some medicine on it. Well, did you buy a house? Yes, on the 3rd floor. How big is it? 130 square meters. It's so big. How much does it cost? Zhang Xiaoying asked. About 800,000 yuan. That's too expensive. It's okay. If it was in those first-tier cities, it wouldn't even be 20 square meters. That would be really expensive, Wang Yao said. He was also amazed by the price of the first-tier cities. Let's not go there. The news said that the smog is so heavy that you can't see the sun in the daytime. It's too polluted. It's easy to get sick. Yes, our village is better. There are mountains, rivers, and woods. Wang Yao smiled. He liked this kind of rural life more and more. Yes, it would be better if we could have a grandson, Zhang Xiaoying said. Mom, is it Saturday again? Will my sister come back? Wang Yao hurriedly changed the topic. At the same time, he needed someone to attract attention. I think she said she will come back. Okay, I'll drive to pick her up, Wang Yao said immediately. Well, you should go to the city more often. There are many girls there. Yes. Mom, go home and cook. Drive safe. After sending his mother away, Wang Yao went out to check on the injured eagle. Then, he added some ancient spring water to it without any dilution. The water, which was the essence of the mountains and rivers, should be able to heal its wounds. Just like San Xian, the eagle seemed to know that the water was extraordinary, so it lowered its head and drank it. To be honest, this was the first time Wang Yao had seen an eagle drink water. Finding it quite interesting, he squatted there and watched for a while before entering the house. A cup of tea and a book. He looked out at the barren garden filled with greenery. Everything fell silent. In the hut, the sound of chanting could be heard. Outside the house, San Xian came to the window beside the house and lay on the ground. He pricked up his ears and listened quietly. The injured eagle flapped its wings from time to time. Time passed quietly just like that. The night slowly descended. In the evening, when Wang Yao returned home for dinner, he noticed that his father's expression wasn't quite right. What's wrong, Dad? Your third grandpa didn't feel well today. He went to the hospital for a checkup. Colon cancer, late stage, Zhang Xiaoying said. Wang Yao was silent and didn't say anything. A thin old man appeared in his mind. He was always cheerful and liked to smoke and drink. His wife passed away early. He worked hard to raise his children, and they all became successful. He didn't want to go to the city to enjoy life, so he stayed in the village. He usually farmed and herded sheep. When he was free, he would visit Wang Yao's house. He was over 70 years old this year. A few days ago, Wang Yao saw him herding sheep on the hill. What did the doctor say? What else can he say? This disease is incurable, Zhang Xiaoying said. No wonder his father looked so unhappy. After all, that was his uncle. If you're free tomorrow, accompany me to the city, Wang Fenghua said as he took a sip of the wine. Okay. After dinner, Wang Yao went up Nanshan Hill. After he went up the hill, he thought about what had just happened. Cancer and malignant tumors were incurable diseases now. It was almost synonymous with death. Once the diagnosis was found, it was equivalent to giving the patient a death notice. Of course, there were some people who could reasonably prolong their lives, but their quality of life would decline a lot. They had to endure the double physical and mental torture, and they also had to bear the considerable cost of treatment. Ordinary families simply couldn't afford it. In this mysterious system, are there any magical prescriptions and licorice roots that can cure cancer? He called out the system panel, but he couldn't find the corresponding prescriptions, herbs, or licorice roots in the pharmacy. He asked the system, but there was no prompt or answer. Maybe my level is too low. The next day, Wang Yao got up early. After he finished everything, he waited for his mother to go up the hill at about 9 a.m. He went down the hill and drove his father to Lianshan County. He went to the hospital to visit his third grandpa, who was receiving treatment in the hospital. After arriving in Lianshan County, he bought some things and went to the county hospital. In the ward, Wang Yao saw the kind old man he hadn't seen for a long time. The old man's body was thin, and his face was dull. He looked listless. Several uncles and aunts sat aside, looking worried. Why don't we transfer to Wei City? The conditions there are better. It's the same wherever we go. The atmosphere in the ward was gloomy and depressing. Wang Yao's father was a man of few words, and in such a situation, he spoke even less. He just asked a few questions and didn't say anything else. He just looked up from time to time at the old man lying in the bed. This was Wang Yao's third grandpa, his relative. His grandfather was the oldest and passed away 3 years ago. His second grandpa passed away even earlier. He died of illness when he was a teenager. Now, this old man had the same disease. He wanted to help, but he couldn't. Maybe the regather soup can help. Wang Yao's eyes lit up. The father and son didn't stay in the ward for long. They got up and left. The relatives in the ward came out to see them off. Taking the elevator to the lobby, Wang Yao unexpectedly met an acquaintance, Tong Wei. Wang Yao, why are you in the hospital? One of my elders is in the hospital. My dad and I are here to visit, Wang Yao said. Hello, uncle. Tong Wei heard that it was Wang Yao's father and immediately greeted him with a smile. Hello. Wang Fenghua showed a rare smile on his face. Are you free this morning? I have to send my dad back. I'll take a taxi. You stay. Wang Fenghua didn't wait for Wang Yao to finish his sentence and interrupted him. Uncle, why don't you stay too? I'll treat you to a meal, Tong Wei said with a smile. No, I have something to do. Wang Fenghua said, You guys go ahead. Dad, I'll drive you to the station. I can take a taxi myself, Wang Fenghua said. Let me drive you. I'll call you later, Tong Wei said. Okay. After saying goodbye to Tong Wei, Wang Yao drove his father to the station. Chapter 71. Dad, why don't I send you back before coming back? It's not far from here. There's still some time before noon. I can still make it if I send you back. Wang Yao drove. No, it's not like I don't know the way. What about the girl? She's my classmate, Wang Yao explained. Have a good chat with her. You don't have to rush home. It's fine if you don't come back at night. I'll take care of the herbal field, Wang Fenghua said seriously. Wang Yao was stunned. His father was obviously implying something. What are you talking about? Wang Fenghua glared at him. Okay. Wang Yao had no choice but to agree. After sending his father to the bus station, Wang Yao drove back to the hospital. He wanted to buy something to visit Tong Wei's parents. However, he received a call from Tong Wei. She was discharged from the hospital not long after. Don't you need to stay with her? It's fine. My brother is there, Tong Wei replied with a smile. Is Andy better? Much better. She can be discharged after a few more injections. That's good. Where do you want to go? It's my treat. You can pick the place, Tong Wei said generously. I'm not familiar with the restaurants in town. Why don't you pick a place? Okay. Tong Wei chose a very unique restaurant. It looked clean and well decorated. Before they reached the restaurant at noon, many people had come to eat. This showed that the sound of this restaurant was very good. The two of them chose a table by the window and sat down. They ordered a few dishes. While waiting for the dishes to be served, the two of them chatted. You haven't been to Dao recently? There's a problem with the company. I'm staying at home for a while. I don't think I'll go before the new year, Tong Wei replied. That's good. You can take a break when you have time. What about you? What have you been busy with? You even drive a luxury car? I'm still taking care of the herbal field at home. It's just a coincidence that I bought a car, Wang Yao replied with a smile. It's all a coincidence. Old classmate, you've hidden it well. Tong Wei said. What's there to hide? If I have time, I would like to visit your herbal field. Would I be welcome? Tong Wei asked half-jokingly. Welcome, a warm welcome. After a while, the dishes were served. The two of them didn't order any alcohol and ordered 2 glasses of fruit juice. The two of them ate and chatted as they talked about their school days. When they talked about their happy times, they smiled happily. She was as beautiful as a flower, and her smile could topple cities. Wang Yao was absent-minded for a moment. Such a woman, they talked about the past and the future. Wang Yao was once filled with lofty aspirations, hoping to create a career. Even if he couldn't bring honor to his ancestors, at least he wanted to live a wealthy life. However, ever since he had the system, the herbal field, and read several volumes of scriptures, his way of thinking changed. His lofty aspirations had become as calm as water. The life he wished for was just like how it was now. A mountain, a house, a field, a dog, and a few books. Everything was peaceful and calm. He worked at sunrise and rested at sunset. Friends and relatives live in peace, living a simple and distant life. This was the life he wanted. Tong Wei was surprised by his attitude towards life. This was not an idea that a person of his age should have. It was more like an old man who had lived in seclusion in the mountains, or an old man with rich experience who had seen through life. "Old classmate, you've changed," she said. From Tong Wei's words, Wang Yao also had a new understanding of this old classmate whom he had not seen for many years. She was a strong-willed girl. Wang Yao had already realized this when he first met her in school. Perhaps it was because she was too outstanding. No matter whether it was her inner knowledge or her external beauty, she was the cream of the crop. A person like her would naturally have a high standard. How could she be willing to be ordinary? She was like a rose, like a pearl, bright and moving, dazzling the eyes. Only a colorful life could match her. She wanted to live in a big city, but she also felt tired. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come back from abroad. She also longed for another harbor that could shelter her from the wind and rain. This was a contradictory mentality. The more they talked, the more congenial they became. Whether seen from afar or close up, they were very intimate, just like a couple. However, there was always a time when the meal was finished, and there was also a time when the conversation was over. Good times always pass quickly. "Do you have anything to do in the afternoon?" Wang Yao said. "No." Tong Wei thought he wanted to take her out for a walk. She was quite happy. "Do you want me to send you home or to the hospital?" Wang Yao's words stunned Tong Wei. It didn't seem to be according to the script or routine. After confirming that he was serious, she smiled and said, "Let's go to the hospital." "Okay, I'll send you there." Wang Yao wanted to rush to pay the bill, but Tong Wei didn't agree. He had to give up and drove her to the hospital. He wanted to visit her mother, but when he saw that it was time, he was afraid that her family would be afraid, so he didn't go up. After saying goodbye to her, he drove away. Tong Wei looked at the car in the distance. Am I not attractive enough? Or does he not have that idea at all? This was the first time this confident beauty had no confidence in herself. After Wang Yao returned home, he dropped off the car and went up Nanshan Hill, as usual. After going up the hill, the first thing his mother asked was, "Why did you come back?" His tone seemed to be very dissatisfied. "If I didn't come back, where would I go?" Wang Yao was stunned. "Where's that girl?" "What girl?" Wang Yao was stunned again. "Don't play dumb with me. Your father told me that one of your female classmates invited you to dinner. She is pretty and sensible. Her mother is in the hospital. She has to accompany her in the afternoon." Wang Yao said, "Then you won't accompany her there?" "Why should I accompany her?" Wang Yao asked back. "Don't play dumb with me, kid. You should invite her home for a meal some other day." "No. Why should she come to our house for dinner? We're just ordinary classmates." "It's not what you think." "Ordinary classmates. Then why did she invite you to dinner?" Zhang Xiaoying asked back. "I help her a little." "Then why didn't she ask others for help? Why did she ask you specifically?" Zhang Xiaoying asked. "It was just a coincidence." "Coincidence? How can it be so coincidental? Are you stupid? That girl is clearly interested in you, and you're still acting like an idiot. Do you have someone else you like?" Zhang Xiaoying asked. "No. Are you going to become a Taoist priest?" Zhang Xiaoying suddenly opened her eyes wide. She seemed to have thought of something terrible. "No, I have to burn all your books," she said and walked into the house. Mom. Wang Yao hurriedly pulled her back. "I definitely won't become a Taoist priest." Chapter 72. "Then hurry up and bring that girl back so that I can have a grandson." Zhang Xiaoying said, "We are really classmates. It's good to be classmates. We know each other and are even closer. Don't mention a normal relationship to me. Just make it not normal. For the first time, Wang Yao found that his mother's words were so sharp and logical. Her logical thinking was so meticulous that he was amazed and speechless. Then it settled. I'm going down the hill to cook. Hurry up. Zhang Xiaoying hummed a song and went down the hill, leaving Wang Yao standing alone in the wind. What's settled? What's settled? San Xian bit its tail and looked up at its master. Its expression seemed to be saying, Trash picker, it seems that you are in trouble. Get out of my way. It would be a lie to say that Wang Yao had no feelings for Tong Wei. She was so beautiful that any man would be attracted to her and have thoughts about her. However, Wang Yao always had a thought deep in his heart that he couldn't rely on a woman who was too beautiful. He needed a woman who could accompany him for the rest of his life, who was gentle and virtuous, filial to his parents, and who wasn't too ugly. That was enough. After all, most of the time, life was as simple as water. Vigorous and exciting life was, after all, a short period of time. Let's not think about these things now. He shook his head and walked to the tree next to the house. He looked at the injured eagle. After getting along with Wang Yao for a few days, the eagle had obviously lowered its guard against Wang Yao. Even if it was very close to Wang Yao, it would at most look at him a few times. Wang Yao added some meat and water for it. Woof, woof, woof. San Xian barked unhappily, as if it was saying, I also want to eat meat. San Xian, listen to me. Didn't I buy you all kinds of dog food? Pork ribs, beef, seafood, and your favorite curry. Woof, woof. Wang Yao thought that this matter had come to an end. Who would have thought that his mother would remind him again when he returned home for dinner? I think that girl is not bad. You have a hold on to her. Wang Fenghua rarely expressed his opinion on this matter. The two elders had reached a united front on this matter. Not only did Wang Yao have nothing to say, but he also had to do his best to comply. Should I try to chase after her? Wang Yao thought to himself on the way back to the mountain after dinner. It seems that Yang Ming is chasing her very passionately. Isn't it a little bad for me to interfere? Stop. Just as Wang Yao was feeling somewhat hesitant and conflicted, he suddenly heard a loud roar. Then, a burly man rushed out from the shadows, reeking of alcohol. What? Wang Yao was stunned. Brother, I'm a little short on cash recently, so I need to borrow some money to spend, the burly man said. What? Wang Yao was shocked. This was a robbery, and it was in his own village. How melodramatic. Sorry, did you drink too much? Wang Yao was secretly on guard. I've been waiting for you for a few days. If you don't give it to me, I'll go to your house and look for it. The man took out a knife from his back. Wang Yao didn't speak after listening. He looked coldly at the burly man who was nearly a head taller than him. He had a stocky back and a bare waist. He was at least 200 pounds. It was okay to rob him. It was okay to threaten him. However, he dared to threaten his family. No, absolutely not. Wang Yao was very angry. The consequences would be very serious. The breath in his abdomen began to flow like water, but the speed was extremely fast. Get lost. Wang Yao suddenly waved his hand and hit the burly man's stomach. With a bang, the burly man was like a rubber ball. He flew out all of a sudden. The burly man, who was more than 200 pounds, hit a brick wall next to him. Then, the brick wall directly collapsed, and he fell into the pigsty. Humph! There were a few groans from the pigsty. A foul smell rushed out from the hole. It was unknown whose pigsty this was. What? Wang Yao looked at his palm with a little surprise. He knew that practicing the qi-inducing skill in natural classics had changed his body a lot. He also knew that the neishi in his body was extraordinary. However, when he used it in anger today, it was actually so powerful. More than 200 pounds of burly man was hit by him. Moreover, it seemed that he still had some strength left. This still surprised him. He looked at the burly man who was still lying in the pigsty and groaning. He didn't intend to let this matter end like this. If he tolerated too much, he would really think that he was easy to bully. 20 minutes later, the police lights flashed and the siren was whistling. The mountain village suddenly became lively at night. In the cold weather, there were suddenly many people on the quiet street. They were chatting nonstop. Hey, what happened? Someone robbed. What? In our village? Yes, he was just taken into the police car. For a time, there were all kinds of talks. People were eating melon seeds and eating peanuts. It was very lively. It was second only to the spring festival. The policemen who were dispatched were also very annoyed at this time, because the police car was filled with the thick smell of pig feces. If it weren't for the burly man in front of them who was trying to rob them, they would definitely have immediately taught him a lesson. Robbing a pig pen. Robbery was so tasteless. Wang Yao also went to the police station to make a statement and record. He didn't tell his family because he was afraid that his family would be worried. However, he called Wang Mingbao. He was familiar with the people in the town's police station. Wang Yao was just in case. After all, he still knew some of the rules. What? Robbery? Who? Do you want to die? Wang Mingbao was furious after receiving the phone call. Daring to make a move in his own village and having designs on his best friend, this was a blatant provocation. He was simply courting death. It's okay. The man was sent to the hospital. You can say hello to the town so that they don't embarrass me. Okay, I got it. Wang Yao was right. The strong man was indeed sent to the hospital. After he was sent to the police station, he still had a stomachache. He was yelling and sweating profusely. The police were afraid that something bad would happen, so they asked Wang Yao about it. They heard that he had been hit, so they sent him directly to the hospital. After the examination, they found out that he had 2 broken ribs and internal bleeding. The hospital in the town could not treat him at all, so they hurriedly transferred him to the county hospital. When he arrived at the county hospital, the doctor on duty endured the stench and checked him. He was also shocked. The situation was very serious. He said that his life might be in danger if he was sent to the hospital a little later. Hearing this, the burly man, who was still conscious, burst into tears. He was very regretful. Didn't I just want to rob someone? I almost lost my life. He didn't succeed in robbing someone. He didn't get any money. He was also seriously injured and needed surgery. Was it so difficult to rob someone? In the middle of the night, Wang Yao had just finished his statement and came out of the police station when he saw his parents rushing over. Chapter 73. Mom, Dad, why are you here? How is it? Are you okay? Zhang Xiaoying asked nervously as soon as she got out of the car. The village was not big, so the news of a robbery in the middle of the night spread quickly. Wang Yao's parents had a good reputation in the village, so some people called them. Only then did they know that their son was in trouble and was sent to the police station, so they hurried to the police station. I'm fine. Let's go home, Wang Yao said. After taking the statement, the matter was basically settled. What Wang Yao did was justified self-defense. There was no problem. However, he could not go far these 2 days because the police might ask him questions at any time. They needed his cooperation. Why don't you go to Nanshan Hill at night? Zhang Xiaoying said. She was worried about her son's safety. Don't worry, Mom. After this incident, no one will rob you again. Who is it? Wang Fenghua asked in a low voice. His family was kind to others in the village. He was also honest and did not offend anyone. He could not think of anyone who would rob his son. I don't know, but I think he must be regretting it now, Wang Yao said calmly. Although his parents persuaded him, Wang Yao still went to Nanshan Hill in the end because he missed a trick. He threw the millstone, which was at least 50 kilograms, several meters away. His parents were stunned. Who taught you this? That teacher's father. Wang Yao mentioned the old Chinese medicine doctor who did not exist. Don't show off in front of others. Don't use it carelessly, Wang Fenghua reminded him. He threw the millstone, which was 50 kilograms, out. It would be terrible if it hit someone. I know, Dad. Wang Yao went to Nanshan Hill at night. The night was very quiet. The light in the cottage was turned off after a while. There was only the sound of the wind on the hill. The next day, Wang Yao led a peaceful life, as usual. The village at the foot of the hill was very lively. There were different versions of what happened last night. Someone said that Wang Yao had made a lot of money from selling Chinese herbs on Nanshan Hill, and that made people think of him. Some people said that it was just a coincidence and that the man had drunk too much. There were also people who said that Wang Yao knew martial arts and that the 200-pound man was almost beaten to death by him. For a time, the news spread like wildfire. Wang Yao, who usually stayed on Nanshan Hill like a hermit in the mountains, became the focus of the village again. However, these things did not affect him much. In fact, he did not even take them to heart. He was thinking about whether he should plant more things on Nanshan Hill in the coming spring. He should plan for it as soon as possible. While he was strolling on Nanshan Hill, his phone rang. "Hey, Mingbao, you're really something. You're really ruthless. You broke 2 of his ribs and caused his internal organs to bleed." Wang Mingbao sighed on the other end of the phone. "A mistake," Wang Yao said. He was telling the truth. He did not expect that a wave of his hand in anger would be so powerful. That kind of person deserves it. I've asked my brother to check on him. He has a criminal record, and it's near the end of the year. I'll give him a serious sentence this time, Wang Mingbao said. "Thank you. When are you coming back? I'll treat you to a meal." "Sure." In the morning, he worked in the herbal field for a while. He carefully looked at the herbs, especially the licorice roots. They grew differently, but generally, they grew slowly. Unlike the detoxifying herbs and moonlight plants, the Shanjing and Polygonum vine grew very slowly, even if they were watered with ancient spring water. In the afternoon, he drove to the town center to pick up his sister. "Oh, I'm so tired after working for a week." Wang Ru sighed as soon as she got into the car. "You're tired? Isn't it just a newspaper and a cup of tea a day?" Wang Yao said with a smile. "Hey, don't talk nonsense if you don't know. In our department, there are some people who don't work all day and still get a high salary. However, there are also some people who work like cows and horses to do practical work. They're so tired that they die. Your sister is one of them," Wang Ru said with some resentment. "No, what?" Wang Yao asked with a smile. In fact, he knew a little about the twists and turns in these departments. "Why? Your sister has nothing to do with you. Secondly, I have no money. I don't know how to please the leaders. I can only be a pawn," Wang Ru said. "A pawn is not bad. You can't fly high and you can't fall." Wang Yao started the car as he spoke. "Wang Ru." At this time, someone outside called her name. "Hey, stop. It seems that someone is calling me," Wang Ru said. "Wang Ru, can you wait for a while? I didn't drive today." The person who called her was a woman in her 30s. She was well-maintained. "No problem. Get in the car, Sister Zhao," Wang Ru said with a smile. This woman was her colleague in the same department. "This is my younger brother, Wang Yao. This is Sister Zhao from my department." "Hello, Sister Zhao. Where do you want to go?" "Take me to a place near the elementary school," Sister Zhao said with a smile. "Okay." Sister Zhao looked at Wang Yao silently, and then looked at the car she was sitting in. "Wang Yao, where do you work?" "At home," Wang Yao said with a smile. "At home?" Sister Zhao was stunned. "Yes," Wang Yao said with a smile. Sister Zhao didn't ask any more questions after hearing that. Instead, she chatted with Wang Ru with a smile. It wasn't a long journey, so they arrived soon. Sister Zhao got off the car. "Thank you. You are welcome. Sister Zhao, we will go first." "Okay, take care." Sister Zhao waved her hand and then glanced at the license plate number. It was not a leopard, but it was almost the same. She can drive a car that costs more than 1,000,000 yuan at home. Wang Ru hit it well. The car gave the woman a lot of ideas. "Hey, sister, let me tell you, I have missed you these days." Wang Yao sighed as he drove. "Really? When did you become so kind? Did something happen at home?" Wang Ru was surprised. "No, nothing," Wang Yao said. "Well, when I go back, I have to ask," Wang Ru said after staring at her brother for a while. As soon as Wang Yao got home, Zhang Xiuying told her everything about the girl who asked Wang Yao out for dinner. "Really? I was wondering why she was so enthusiastic today. She wanted to take me home to attract the attention of Mom and Dad." "Well done. Boy, you are smart. How is the girl?" "She is very good," Wang Fenghua said. "Oh, Dad, if you say she is good, then she must be good. When will you bring her home for us to see?" Sigh. Wang Yao sighed softly. He realized that it was a mistake to take his sister home. Not only did she not succeed in diverting Mom and Dad's attention, but she also added fuel to the fire. She even said shameless things like, "What is done cannot be undone." Chapter 74. You can imagine a pure and innocent girl talking to you about how to pick up girls and seduce beautiful girls. She even used all kinds of methods, including the extreme method of getting the other party drunk and taking the opportunity to take the other party to a hotel to have sex. The key point was that she was very excited when talking about this matter. Her eyes were shining, and she was dancing with joy. "Sister, are you really my sister? Did you pick me up from a garbage dump?" Wang Yao covered his forehead and said, "Don't talk nonsense. You are a girl. Don't you feel ashamed to talk about these things?" Zhang Xiaoying slammed the table and interrupted Wang Ru. "Mom, I'm teaching Yao a lesson. You see, he is too honest. He has become stupid from planting herbs. He doesn't even pick flowers that are sent to his door. If you have such thoughts, you'd better think about your own matters. It's almost your new year. Let's eat. I am hungry." Wang Ru decisively changed the topic when talking about herself. Then Wang Ru heard that Wang Yao was robbed that night. "Who is that? Has he been watching you for a long time?" Wang Ru was worried. "It is okay. He is not from our village. He is still in the hospital." Wang Mingbao had told him about this person's identity before. He was from another village and did not have a fixed job. He did not do proper work all day and was a gangster. Last time, he was arrested for theft and was put through labor for a period of time. This time, it was considered a repeat offense, and his sentence would be heavier. He would be in prison for 3 to 5 years. Yao knows some kung fu. Zhang Xiaoying just mentioned it casually. "Good. You know kung fu? Where did you learn it from? That magical old Chinese medicine doctor? Tai Chi, Bagua, Hong Quan, Wing Chun?" Wang Ru immediately became spirited. Wang Yao smiled bitterly and rubbed his forehead. As soon as his sister came back, the house immediately became lively. After dinner, he stayed at home for a while to chat with his family. After that, he went up the mountain alone. His parents' and sister's persuasion did not change his mind. The herbal field in the mountains and the herbs planted there were his sustenance. It was very quiet on the mountain, which seemed to be in contrast to the liveliness at home. However, he knew that he liked this kind of silence and liveliness because this was life and family. He was not alone in this world. He could live without this magical system, but he could not live without his family. Wang Yao was not in a hurry to go to bed. He made a cup of tea and read natural classics under the light. The room was very quiet, and so was his heart. He had once again entered that mystical realm, the realm created by the scripture. He read the scripture slowly. It was only a few pages, but it took him more than 2 hours to read it. The moment he broke away from that state, his left hand moved slightly, and a warm current flowed smoothly. He sighed softly. This is a pleasant surprise. The next morning, in addition to taking care of the herbal field and daily practice, Wang Yao changed the medicine for the injured eagle. This time, the eagle did not attack Wang Yao. It seemed that it knew that it was good to do so. The wound had already scabbed and recovered quickly. After applying some medicine and bandaging, Wang Yao touched the feather subconsciously, as if he was touching Sanxian at home. The eagle just stared at him and did not resist. Wang Yao laughed when he saw that. He laughed very happily. At noon, he cooked a big meal at home. He killed a rooster he raised and bought some beef from the town. At the table, Wang Ru ate the meat. Her hands and face were covered with oil. To put it nicely, she looked like a tough woman. To put it bluntly, she looked like a reincarnated hungry ghost. "Sister, how did you spend the past week in the county? Did you eat nothing?" Wang Yao asked with a smile. "I was too lazy to cook. The food in those restaurants was not hygienic. I eat slowly. No one will take it from you," Zhang Xiaoying said with a smile. "You're a girl. How can you eat so much meat?" "I eat meat, but I don't gain weight." The whole family was happy and harmonious. Wang Yao also accompanied his father to drink some wine. It was the Maotai sent by Tian Yuan to last time. People said it was delicious. It was called the national wine. However, Wang Yao was not used to it. It was not as comfortable as black tea. His father, on the other hand, looked like he was enjoying it. In the afternoon, Wang Yao made some marks on the hill. He went back to his room and drew a rough sketch. He was going to expand the range of the herbs. However, before that, he had to set up a slightly larger 5-element magic array to avoid unnecessary trouble. Now that the ground is frozen, we have to wait until spring to plant them. With a general framework, the next step was to plan the details. What trees to plant, the combination of trees and shrubs, and the range of the herbs to plant all needed to be planned carefully. It was not something that could be planned in a short time. However, he was not in a hurry. The system's task was randomly issued. It was not very compulsory. After a busy day, Wang Yao went home in the evening to have dinner and chat with his family. He also bickered with his sister. Life was simply too wonderful. The next day, it was the weekend. Wang Ru went up the hill at about 10 a.m. At this time, Wang Yao was almost done with his work. He made a cup of tea and read a book. He was happy to have some leisure time. Yao, I really envy you, Wang Ru said. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to look at people's faces. I don't have to worry about cheating. It's really good. Wang Ru was speaking the truth. The most important thing is that I can make a lot of money. The last sentence is the main point, right? Wang Yao smiled and made a cup of tea for his sister. Yes, your elder sister works like a cow and horse in the unit. I'm so tired, but I can only earn 3,000 yuan a month. You can earn 10 years of my salary just by selling some herbs. I think God is spoiling you. Wang Ru sighed. Yes, I also think God is spoiling me. Wang Yao looked up at the sky and smiled. If that was not the case, why would the mysterious system be given to him? If one day I don't want to work anymore, I'll come and help you. No problem. I'll treat you the same as San Xian. Woof, woof, woof. San Xian barked outside. What did you say? Ouch, ouch, it hurts. After bullying Wang Yao, Wang Ru started to walk around the herbal field leisurely. Hey, what's this? Soon, she found the injured eagle. The eagle didn't care about the appearance of this stranger. It was ready to attack immediately. Wang Ru was so scared that all the hair on her body stood up. She took 2 steps back subconsciously. This was a bird of prey, the overlord of the sky. Its momentum was not ordinary. Chapter 75. She's one of us, Wang Yao said to the eagle with a smile. The eagle suddenly flapped its wings and returned to its cold attitude. Apparently, it understood what Wang Yao meant. You even have an eagle. Wang Ru glanced at the eagle and exclaimed in surprise. It's not an eagle. It's injured, so it's resting here for now, Wang Yao explained. What about the bandage on its wings? I bandaged it, Wang Yao said. It allowed you to bandage it. Wang Ru was surprised. Yes, it didn't at first, but it got better, Wang Yao said with a smile. He almost got hurt when he bandaged the eagle. How did you do that? Wang Ru asked curiously. The eagle's attitude towards Wang Yao gave her the feeling that it was like a pet meeting its owner. She had seen a lot of pet owners, but she had only seen an eagle as a pet on the internet. This was the first time she had seen an eagle as a pet. I let it feel your kindness, Wang Yao said. Kindness? Wang Ru was stunned for a moment, and then she smiled like a flower. Little eagle, let me touch you, and I'll give you meat, Wang Ru said as she slowly reached out her hand. The eagle opened its wings and stared at Wang Ru, who was slowly approaching it. It opened its mouth slightly. Woof, woof, woof. San Xian barked at Wang Ru. Hey, why is it still like that? San Xian, what do you mean by that expression? Sis, I think you don't understand what I'm saying. Wang Yao rubbed his forehead. He felt that his sister was a little too dense. How is it not enough? I'm full of kindness. Don't be ridiculous. Even San Xian can see that you're hypocritical. Do you think animals are stupid? Your acting skills are too bad. You need to practice more, Wang Yao said with a smile. You're good. Show me your kindness, Wang Ru said. Haha, no problem. Wang Yao approached the eagle with a smile. He didn't say anything, but just reached out his hand and stroked its feathers naturally. The eagle didn't resist or attack. Instead, it seemed to enjoy it very much. Wang Ru was stunned. Look, it's very simple. Wang Ru tried a few more times, but in the end, she still couldn't get rid of the eagle's vigilance toward her. After all, Wang Yao had fed it for a few days and had also helped to heal its wounds and change its medicine. In addition, the aura on its body was somewhat unique, which was why it was treated like this. How could it be so easy for a stranger to gain the approval of a beast? In the end, Wang Ru lost her patience. She gave up and entered the house. Serve me tea, good tea. Cha! It was a cup of top-notch Kimon black tea. The aroma was alluring. Well, good tea. Although he had drunk it more than once, He couldn't help sighing with emotion every time. Sigh, think about it. People drink this kind of good tea every day and enjoy life. The life of a rich person is indeed different. I'm not talking about you. In the end, she did not forget to add, you only saw their bright side. You didn't see them bleed and shed tears, Wang Yao said calmly. What's the point of reading these books every day? Wang Ru picked up the Nanhua scripture on the table by the window. There are treasures in this book, Wang Yao said with a smile. Treasures? What treasures? The House of Gold? Or Yanruyu? Wang Ru flipped through the book in her hand. It was full of ancient Chinese. She even had some impressions of some of the sentences. It's artistic conception. It's Tao, Wang Yao said calmly. I understand artistic conception, but what is Tao? Wang Ru looked at her brother in surprise. Is this guy brainwashed by these books? It can only be understood but not explained. I haven't fully understood it. But reading these books can calm me down and make me understand some principles, Wang Yao explained. I think you are bewitched, Wang Ru said. We can't read these books. I'll take them home to make a fire. Wang Ru said, and was about to take away all the books on the table. Don't. How can you do that? Wang Yao was a little anxious. Calm, understanding. Sister, stop fooling around. Let's go down the mountain and cook. Wang Yao took the books and pushed Wang Ru out of the house. Wang Yao pushed her gently. Wang Ru felt a huge force coming. She took a few steps forward. Suddenly, she stared at Wang Yao. Her eyes were shining. Sister, what are you doing? Wang Yao suddenly had a very bad feeling. I heard from Mom that you can throw a millstone that weighs 50 kilograms a few meters away. Show me, Wang Ru said excitedly. Sure enough, Wang Yao suddenly felt a headache coming. That's a coincidence. There is no millstone here. Then let's find a stone. Wang Ru obviously wouldn't give up so easily. In her opinion, this was more interesting than acrobatics and circuses. There is no stone. No. Wang Ru looked around. Soon, she found a stone not far away. It didn't look too big, but it was also small. At least, it couldn't be moved by 1 or 2 people. That stone is rooted in the ground. I can't move it, Wang Yao said. How do you know you can't move it if you don't try? Hurry up. Wang Ru came to the stone. She bent down excitedly and pushed the stone with all her strength. The stone was rooted in the ground and didn't move at all. Wang Yao walked to the stone, raised his hands, and took a deep breath. He pretended to operate his chi for a while, and then shouted, Ha! Wang Ru was shocked. However, the stone didn't move at all. Look, I told you I can't move it. You didn't believe me. Sigh, you disappoint me. I'll go down the mountain first. Wang Ru was a little disappointed. She suddenly stopped after a few steps. Go down the mountain and eat later. Then you can show me how to lift a millstone. Wang Yao sighed after hearing that. With such a mind, no wonder you can't find a partner. However, when he saw that his sister had walked far away, he pressed his hand on the mountain rock again. He circulated the chi in his abdomen and pushed it with all his might. Kacha, the place where his palm pressed on, actually broke into pieces. His palms sank in, as if he had pressed on a piece of crispy cake. With a crash, the rock moved a little. Wang Yao slowly withdrew his palms. The natural classics is really mysterious. He sighed secretly. When he went home for lunch, Wang Ru still couldn't forget that thing. She encouraged Wang Yao to perform again. As a result, she was severely reprimanded by her parents. What if other people see your brother? They will think your brother is a weirdo. Will they spread rumors or call the police? Zhang Xiaoying said, Look at you. You're almost 30 years old. You're like a child all day long. You don't look like a lady at all. Who dares to marry you? After being reprimanded, Wang Ru became much quieter. Chapter 76. Sis, I think you really need to find a partner, Wang Yao said after dinner. You don't have to worry about me, Wang Ru said, gritting her teeth. Yao is right. You have to find someone to take care of you. Otherwise, you'll go crazy all the time. Zhang Xiaoying said, Mom, weren't we talking about my brother just now? At least he has a clue. What about you? I haven't even seen you yet. Well, yes. Wang Yao took a sip of water from his cup. In order to avoid being distracted again, Wang Yao didn't stay at home for long after dinner before going back to Nanshan Hill. When he arrived at the top of the mountain, he heard a fluttering sound. Then he saw a big bird fly out from behind the house and onto a chestnut tree. The wings of the big bird were still wrapped in white bandages. It was the injured eagle. "Hey!" it screamed after seeing Wang Yao. "It seems that it has almost recovered." In the afternoon, Wang Mingbao came back from Lianshan County. He went up a hill to chat with Wang Yao. He looked a little lonely. "What's wrong?" "I'm fine." Wang Mingbao lit a cigarette. "Is the business not going well?" "It's okay. I made a lot of money during the opening days." "What is it? Can't you tell me?" "It's about my dad. It's a little annoying." Wang Mingbao puffed out the cigarette. He was worried about it, but there was nothing he could do to help. Since he was home, he thought of going up the hill to chat with his buddy. "What's wrong? Did something happen?" Wang Yao said. He knew from Wang Jianli that there was a change in personnel in D County. An important position was vacated, and someone was going to be transferred. The mayor of Jinshan Hill was one of the candidates. If he left, then Wang Mingbao's father, who was the deputy mayor, might be promoted. The word deputy sometimes made a big difference. "The mayor has gone up, but I don't think my dad has a chance," Wang Mingbao said after taking a deep puff of his cigarette. "What happened?" Wang Yao asked hurriedly. "A deputy director will be appointed from the county to replace the mayor." "This matter is basically settled," Wang Mingbao said. "Is that so?" Wang Yao didn't say anything. He wanted to help, but he didn't know how. After all, the people who could influence this matter were the top figures in this county. He didn't know them at all. Perhaps. He thought of two people. The closest one was Tian Yuan-tu. When he met him at Shanghua Hotel during the class reunion, he was having dinner with Deputy County Magistrate Dai. He should be able to talk to him. The one far away was Guo Sairu. She didn't know her real identity, but she guessed that she was either rich or noble. Moreover, she owed her a favor. "Wait a minute. I'll make a phone call." He picked up his phone and called Tian Yuan-tu to ask if he was free. When he was free, he asked him to come out tonight. Tian Yuan-tu happily agreed. Wang Yao set the meeting place at Shanghua Hotel. This kind of thing couldn't be explained clearly over the phone. "I have an appointment with a friend. Let's see if he can help," Wang Yao said after hanging up the phone. "Help? What does your friend do? Is he reliable?" Wang Mingbao asked. In fact, he didn't ask his father about this matter. He heard the news from other sources. Since the matter hadn't been announced yet, it meant that there was still a chance. This matter was the most important thing for Wang Mingbao's family. "I don't know. Let's ask him when we meet," Wang Yao said. He didn't know in his heart since he hadn't met Tian Yuan-tu. "Okay, do you need me to go with you?" "No, I'll talk to him alone first." In fact, Wang Yao and Tian Yuan-tu didn't know each other very well. It was a bit abrupt and rash to talk about this kind of thing. However, for his close friend, he would be rash this time. Wang Mingbao sat on the hill for a while and then left. Originally, he just wanted to talk to Wang Yao about his troubles. He didn't expect that Wang Yao would ask for help. This made him very surprised, but he didn't have much hope in his heart. After all, this kind of thing involved the confrontation and competition of people in the county. Ordinary people were not qualified to intervene. Wang Yao told his family and drove to Lianshan County. When he arrived, it was around 4 p.m. There was a coffee shop in Shanghua Hotel. He asked for a private room there and then sent a text message to Tian Yuan-tu. In less than 20 minutes, Tian Yuan-tu arrived. "Why do you suddenly have time to treat me to coffee?" Tian Yuan-tu asked with a smile as soon as he entered the room. "Well," Wang Yao lowered his head and was silent for a moment. "I have something to ask for your help." "What is it? Tell me." Tian Yuan-tu sat down and said. Wang Yao told him about Wang Mingbao's father. "What a coincidence. I can really help with this matter." Tian Yuan-tu smiled. "Really? What do you need me to do?" Wang Yao said, "This kind of thing, with such a big help, absolutely couldn't be solved with just a thank you." "Well, can you help me see a patient?" Tian Yuan-tu thought for a moment and said. "Well," Wang Yao didn't rush to answer. He silently asked the system if he could make a house call. The result was still the same. "Still can't." "Well, let me take a look at the case first and see if I can help." "Okay." After chatting for a while, Wang Yao treated Tian Yuan-tu to a meal in Shanghua Hotel. In the end, not only did he not spend a penny, but Tian Yuantu also gave him a VIP card. As long as he spent in Shenghua Hotel, he would get a 50% discount. This was quite a big discount. I'll ask around for you as soon as possible. Okay, thank you. After 7 p.m., Wang Yao drove back to the mountain village and then went back to Nanshan Hill. The next morning, he got up very early. After he finished his work in the herbal field, his mother went back to Nanshan Hill early to take care of the herbal field for him. He had to send his sister to the county town to work. Sister, you should buy a car. It's convenient to go anywhere. I don't have that much money, Wang Ru said. Do you want me to buy you one? Wang Yao smiled. You have nowhere to spend your money, right? Wang Ru stared at him. On Monday morning, there were a lot of cars in town. Wang Yao's driving skills were not good, so it took him some effort to send his sister to work. Then he drove back. On the way back, because he was driving slowly, the car behind him kept honking. Wang Yao still drove very slowly because there were people in front of him. An old man and a girl were crossing the road. It seemed that they wanted to send her to school. Boom! The car behind them was a little impatient. He stepped on the accelerator and rushed forward. The road was narrow, so it was very dangerous for him to do so. The car rushed out from the side and was about to hit the old man and the girl. Suddenly, the car was hit to the side. Chapter 77. The white car was like a nimble white cat. It was Wang Yao's black car that hit it. It was like a ferocious leopard. It was pushed out at once. It hit the tree with a bang. The airbag burst. The man inside was dizzy. The car stopped less than 2 meters away from the old man and the child. A traffic accident happened. As one of the parties involved, Wang Yao got out of the car and took out his mobile phone to call the police. Because this area was a bit special and there were public institutions nearby, the traffic police were efficient. They soon arrived at the scene of the accident. They took photos and made a statement. The car that was hit was a BMW. The young man in the car seemed to have been hit hard. He climbed out of the car and squatted on the ground for a while. When he came to his senses, he cursed and wanted to fight, but he was stopped by the traffic police. There were many surveillance cameras in this area. As long as they checked, it was easy to determine who was responsible. As the parties involved, Wang Yao and the young man who was dressed very Korean were invited to the police station. The video was quickly played. Judging from the content of the video, if Wang Yao hadn't swerved in time and pushed the white BMW out, the old woman and the child would have been in trouble. Even if they didn't die, they would be seriously injured. Damn, he's really willing to hit a BMW with a Tiguan. The traffic police in charge of the case sighed. Okay, don't be emotional. They are all rich people. Get ready to write the report. Boss, someone just called. It's the relative of the BMW owner. He said he knows Inspector Lee. At this time, a traffic police came over. Then wait for Inspector Lee's call. The traffic police in charge of the case said, Hey, he did a good thing, boss. Don't worry, the person who drives that kind of car will be fine. Look at the license plate number and wait for the call. The well-dressed young man seemed to have completely recovered from the state of being hit by the car. He made a lot of phone calls and looked at Wang Yao with a naked thread in his eyes. You're in trouble. You're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. He didn't know how to restrain himself in the traffic police team. He was like a local ruffian. Whose child is this? His parents have to worry so much. Wang Yao secretly worried about the child's parents. After a while, another person came to ask questions. Why did you suddenly turn the steering wheel instead of turning on the turn signal? Subconsciously, Wang Yao said. Subconscious? The traffic policeman who asked the question was stunned. Wang Yao was telling the truth. He did do it subconsciously. When he saw the BMW rushing up from the rear mirror, he turned the steering wheel and stepped on the accelerator a little. It had to be said that the imported car was very powerful and achieved the expected effect. Your subconscious behavior directly led to a car accident and almost caused casualties. Do you know that? Officer, the BMW behind me didn't turn on its turn signal when it overtook me. I didn't know he was going to overtake me, and the traffic signs at that time said that overtaking was not allowed. Wang Yao said, Oh, you know a lot? The traffic policeman's face didn't look right. I know a little. Wang Yao wasn't in a good mood. The traffic policeman didn't waste any more time talking to Wang Yao. He left after making some symbolic records. In the morning, The results of the traffic accident came out. Wang Yao took the main responsibility. Wang Yao heard the results and smiled. The young man's expression was even more interesting. He looked at Wang Yao happily with an expression that said, "I have people. If you don't like it, come and beat me up." This made Wang Yao feel that his foot on the accelerator seemed to be a little light. Hey, is this kind of deceptive behavior considered a disease? How can it be treated? Is there a special medicine? After the results of the judgment came out, it meant that Wang Yao was responsible for the other party's various expenses, including vehicle maintenance, physical examination, and inexplicable mental damage. "I have an objection to the judgment," Wang Yao said calmly. "I will ask a lawyer to deal with this matter." Just as he finished speaking, a traffic police officer rushed in. "Where's the accident report just now?" "It's here." Sorry, it's a mistake." The traffic policeman hurriedly snatched the accident report from the hands of the two people. Yes, snatched it. The traffic policeman directly tore the report into pieces in front of everyone. "By the way, delete the electronic version and rewrite it." It was winter, so it was very cold outside. Although there was a heater in the room, it was not very hot. The traffic policeman, who seemed to be an official, was wiping his sweat. "What's the matter? Why do you have to rewrite it?" The young man who drove the BMW was not happy after hearing it. His voice was not low. Everyone in the room was looking at him. What a joke. He spent so much effort and used his connections to find someone. Wasn't it just to vent his anger? The judgment result was out, and he had achieved his goal. Next, he would be disgusted by the guy. Why did this suddenly happen? "Stay aside." The traffic policeman directly shouted at him. It seemed that he was quite dissatisfied. Not long after, the new responsibility judgment report came out. Wang Yao was fined, and the young man named Li Zhenghao was judged to be fully responsible. After receiving the report, Wang Yao was stunned. What was going on? The difference was so big, and it had only been 10 minutes. The world changed so fast. Did they suddenly think it through and want to uphold justice? What's going on? The young man named Li Zhenghao was dumbfounded. Can't you read? Can't you read it yourself? The traffic policeman who handled the case said angrily. After the responsibility was determined, the next problem was much easier. Wang Yao did not ask for anything else. He just put forward a basic request, which was to repair his car. In order to hit the BMW, the front bumper of the car was hit, and a piece of paint was scraped off. Basically, it was not a big problem. The young man was still very arrogant, but after receiving a phone call, he immediately became listless. He said that he would obey and fulfill the relevant responsibilities. Wang Yao called the 4S shop about the damaged car. He knew that it would take some time to repair it. He drove the car there. The shop estimated that it would take about a week because the front bumper had to be replaced. The price was not cheap. He directly left the car there. Manager's son transferred a car for him to drive temporarily. This matter seemed to be over, at least for Wang Yao. Although the change in the middle was very abrupt, it was a good thing. It was a fair judgment. The person who broke the law got the punishment he deserved, although Wang Yao felt that the sentence was a little light. Chapter 78. On this day, the sky was gloomy. Snowflakes had been floating since early morning. At first, it was not very heavy, but gradually, it became heavier and heavier. By noon, it was already snowing like goose feathers. Between heaven and earth, everywhere was a vast expanse of white. Wang Yao looked outside and suddenly became interested. He went up the mountain against the wind and snow. Although the wind was howling, he walked like the wind. The qi in his body flowed like water. His body was warm, and he was not afraid of the cold. Not long after, he reached the top of the mountain and stood on top of the rock. He looked into the distance and saw the snow covering the sky. Intuitively, a different kind of emotion brewed in his heart. He wanted to sing a song and compose a poem. Slowly, all these emotions disappeared and only calmness remained. He stood on a mountain quietly and looked at the falling snow. It was so quiet. He didn't realize it was noon until he saw smoke from the village at the foot of the mountain. Let's go. He walked slowly from the foot of the mountain. Sensien was lying quietly in his hut. He looked outside and seemed to be enjoying the snow. The eagle was standing in the wind and snow. According to Wang Yao's observation, its wings had almost recovered. It would not be long before it could fly again. It snowed for a whole day. It didn't stop at night. Wang Yao decided not to go home, so he cooked a meal for himself in the cottage to make do with the food. It was getting dark. It was still snowing outside. Wang Yao read a book for a while, then turned off the light and went to sleep. The next morning, it was still snowing. Wang Yao opened the door and thought of a poem. Open the door in the morning and snow covers the mountain. It was true. When he opened the door, he saw the mountain covered in snow. It was silver. Because it was snowing, Wang Yao only watered the licorice roots. He didn't water the rest of the herbs. He didn't go up the mountain to cultivate either. Instead, he sat cross-legged in front of the hut and started to practice breathing. Crunch, crunch, crunch. He stepped on the snow. Wang Yao opened his eyes and stood up. He saw a black shadow going up the mountain. It was very eye-catching in the wind and snow. At this time, there was still someone going up the mountain. Who could it be? When a man got a little closer, Wang Yao vaguely saw his face. It was Wang Mingbao. He left in a hurry, as if he had something urgent to attend to. When they got closer to the hut, they realized that his face was filled with joy and excitement. What's the matter? Why are you going up the mountain in this weather? Wang Yao said, getting married? It's not about that. My dad's matter has been settled. Wang Mingbao said excitedly. Oh, that's a good thing. Wang Yao said with a smile. He didn't expect Tian Yuan-tu to be able to get this done so quickly. This also showed that Tian Yuan-tu's connections were indeed extraordinary. Is it because of the person you found? Wang Mingbao asked. At home, when his grandfather mentioned this, his face was full of surprise and doubt, because this matter was basically a foregone conclusion. Several major leaders in the county had already communicated with each other, and only a vote and written notice were left. However, he did not expect that someone would mention this matter at the group meeting on Monday, and then there was a big reversal. This was definitely caused by the intervention of a strong external force. Otherwise, it would be impossible to change something that was almost certain to be a foregone conclusion. However, Wang Mingbao's father certainly didn't know who helped him. Now was not the time to inquire. He would find an opportunity to thank the person after the appointment. He didn't know, but Wang Mingbao vaguely guessed that this matter should be related to Wang Yao. These days, he only talked about this matter with his close friend. Wang Yao promised to find someone to have a look. There was no one else except him. I don't know. He didn't tell me, Wang Yao said with a smile. I have to thank you for this matter. Wang Mingbao said, by the way, how much did it cost to thank the person? As a businessman, he knew that there were very few people in the world who helped for no reason. There was a price to pay to do something. The more difficult it was to do, the greater the price. His father belonged to the kind of people who were difficult to do. I didn't spend any money. I owe him a favor, Wang Yao said. A favor? Wang Mingbao frowned. For some people, a favor was nothing and had no binding power. However, for some people who valued morality, a favor was the hardest to repay. Wang Mingbao still knew his friend. He valued friendship and honor. If he owed someone a favor, he had to repay the favor as much as possible. After a moment of silence, Wang Mingbao said, why don't you ask him out some other day? I'll be the host and thank him properly. We'll talk about this later. Come and have a cup of tea. Wang Yao made a pot of black tea for him. Drinking some black tea in winter was good for the body. It's so cold. Don't you feel cold in this house? Wang Mingbao looked around and found that the house didn't have any heating equipment. It was cold sitting inside. He only felt that there was cold air all around. You'll get used to it. Wang Yao smiled. Not only was his physical fitness better than ordinary people, but he also had nashi flowing in his body. This cold was really nothing to him. This mountain is cold and quiet. Don't tell me you really want to be a hermit in the mountains? Of course not, Wang Yao said with a smile. He still had relatives and friends. In the future, he would marry and have children. He still had to interact with society. How could he be a hermit in the mountains? He just liked this relatively quiet and slow life. Why don't you decorate your house after spring and the weather gets warmer? There's no hurry. It's up to you. I don't live there anyway. That's true. After sitting in a house for a while, even with Wang Mingbao's physique, He couldn't help but shiver. It was really cold in the house. I don't want to stay here. It's too cold. I can't stand it. Come to my house for lunch. I prepared everything. Okay. At noon, Wang Yao locked the door and went down the mountain. He went to Wang Mingbao's house. He basically lived in the city. His parents were usually in town. Only his grandfather and grandmother were at home. Wang Mingbao also came home from time to see his grandparents. The two brothers sat together, eating, drinking, and chatting. Time passed unknowingly. Soon, it was past 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Are you still going up the mountain in the afternoon? Let's go, but there's no hurry. Wang Yao turned his head and looked outside. The snow was still falling. On this snowy day, no one would go up the mountain. They were not even willing to go out, let alone go up the mountain. It was cold and windy. It was so nice to eat melon seeds and watch TV on the hot Kong. It was also because of this that Wang Yao was not in a hurry to go up the mountain. Chapter 79. You are different from other people, Wang Mingbao said. You are like an ascetic monk on the hill. You don't understand. It was good like that, Wang Yao said with a smile. Anyway, I couldn't stand it. Not even for a day. When Wang Yao left Wang Mingbao's house, it was already past 2 p.m. It was still snowing outside, but it was much lighter. He stepped on the snow and went up the hill. He admired the snow as he walked. He walked slowly. It was quiet all around. Only the crunching sound of his feet could be heard. Caw! A bird chirped. Wang Yao looked up and saw an eagle flying in the snow. It rushed to the sky. Huh! Wang Yao sighed. He could see that the eagle circling in the snow was the one that was injured a few days ago. He didn't expect that it could return to the sky so soon. The eagle seemed to have noticed Wang Yao. It swooped down and stopped at a lower altitude. It circled above his head a few times. Then it spread its wings and flew away. Goodbye. Come back to see me when you have time. Wang Yao shouted at the sky. He didn't care if the eagle understood him or not. Woof, woof, woof. San Xian's barking came from the hill. It seemed to be saying goodbye to its friend. When Wang Yao came to the cottage, San Xian was still staring at the sky. It seemed to be lonely. Wang Yao walked up and stroked it gently. You are too lonely. Do you want to find a companion? San Xian looked back at Wang Yao. Then it turned around and went into its nest. It lay there quietly. It was very sad. Wang Yao stayed outside with it for a while. Then he went back into the cottage. It was still snowing outside. It was a little cold in the cottage. He made a cup of black tea and picked up a Taoist scripture to read. Perhaps it was because of the snow. The sky outside turned dark very early. Wang Yao originally didn't want to go home for dinner, but he received a call from his mother asking him to go home for dinner. When he went down the mountain, the snowflakes fell very slowly and very little. When he reached the door of his house, the snow had completely stopped, but the wind was blowing. It was exceptionally cold, and it hurt a little when it cut his face. Are we still going up the mountain tonight? Zhang Xiuying asked during dinner. Yes, let's go up. It's so cold. There's nothing to warm them up. How can they stand it? Besides, no one will go there on such a cold day. Don't go there tonight. Zhang Xiuying dissuaded her. It's okay, Mom. I'm used to it. Zhang Xiuying tried to persuade him for a while, but seeing that Wang Yao was so determined, she didn't try to persuade him anymore. It was even colder at night on the mountain. Wang Yao was already used to it. He lay in the thick quilt. Moreover, he had an extraordinary physique, so he didn't feel very cold. The night passed quickly. The next morning, as soon as Wang Yao went out, he heard a chirping sound coming from the sky. He looked up and saw that the goshawk that had flown away the day before had returned and landed on the thickest tree. Woof, woof, woof. San Xian, who was lying in the kennel, heard the chirp and rushed out, barking excitedly. After the goshawk flew back, it didn't leave the tree except for looking for food. It seems that you are going to settle down here, Wang Yao said with a smile. The goshawk on the tree flapped its wings a few times as a response. Welcome, warmly welcome. Wang Yao was very happy. He and San Xian finally had a companion who could fly. On the third day after it snowed, there was one more car in the village. Tian Yuantou stopped the car at the entrance of the village and went up the mountain with a few boxes. The mountain wind was very cold. Although he wore a lot of clothes, he still shivered from time to time. After going around a mountain, he looked up and saw the cottage not far ahead. It was halfway up the mountain. He sighed. It's so cold, but he can still stay on the mountain. He is really not an ordinary person. After he went up the mountain, he met Wang Yao in the cottage. There was no heating in the cottage. The black tea and the hot water soon cooled down. It was too cold to drink. This is the medical record of my friend's mother. Take a look. Tian Yuantu brought some gifts for Wang Yao. In addition, he also brought the medical record of the patient he mentioned to Wang Yao last time. Let me have a look. I'll give you an answer as soon as possible. Wang Yao took the medical record and glanced at it, then put it aside. Okay, I hope you can get back to me as soon as possible, Tian Yuantu said. No problem. Thank you for what you did last time. Ha! Tian Yuantu waved his hand with a smile. He helped Wang Yao because Wang Yao was worthy of his help. Moreover, it was not a difficult thing for him to do. It was just a matter of saying a few words. If he could make Wang Yao owe him a favor, why not? You are so poor. You don't have a TV, a computer, and only a few scriptures. Tian Yuantu looked around the cottage. There's a dog and an eagle outside, Wang Yao said with a smile. Eagle? Tian Yuantu was shocked. You have an eagle? I didn't raise it. It just settled down here on the way. It is so cold, but you can stand it. I have to admire you. Tian Yuantu sighed. I'll get used to it, Wang Yao said with a smile. In fact, he was not used to it at first. When he was in college, he could chat with his classmates in the dormitory at night when he had nothing to do. He could go to the library and surf the internet. At home, he could sit with his family and chat with them. He could watch TV and surf the internet. However, on this mountain, he was alone. Of course, he also had a mobile phone and surfed the internet. However, it was different from home and school. At first, he was not used to it. Then, he slowly adapted to it. Now, he faintly liked and enjoyed it. It was a process change. Tian Yuantu could not change in a short time. At least, he could not stand the cold. Therefore, he did not stay for long, only 10 minutes. The matter was explained and the things were delivered. He said goodbye and left. Wang Yao did not want to accept the gifts he brought. However, Wang Yao was determined to keep them. He had no choice but to give up. There will be a result in 3 days, Wang Yao said. Okay, I will wait for your good news. 3 days was not a long time. After Tian Yuantu left the cottage, he glanced at the big tree next to the cottage. As Wang Yao said, there was an eagle standing on it. A proud eagle. It was staring at him. Every time I come, there is a surprise. He sighed. This kind of animal was rarely seen in the wild in this county town. Who would have thought that one would actually settle down here? One had to know that this was a place where people lived. Every kind of wild animal would have an almost natural rejection and hostility towards humans. Chapter 80. After Tian Yuan left, Wang Yao picked up the medical report that Tian Yuan had sent to him and read it carefully. The medical records were very complete, including both Western medicine and Chinese medicine. The patient's illness was also very strange. There were many symptoms, but the knowledge given by the system helped him quickly grasp the key points. Insufficient yang, imbalance of yin and yang. Even during the hottest dog days of the year, she would still feel cold all over, not to mention winter. She would stay in her room for at least 300 days a year, not daring to go out of the house. After so many years, her health had not improved, and her body was getting worse and worse. Of course, this was only what was shown on the medical record. In fact, Wang Yao wanted to see the patient in person so that he could be more sure. After all, he was no longer a rookie who knew nothing about medicine. He had already learned the method of feeling the pulse. He also wanted to try. After reading the medical records, he thought carefully for a moment and had an idea. Since her health was poor, she needed to adjust her body first. In this way, the regather soup should be very suitable. However, the growth of Guiyuan and Shanjing were too slow. The stems and leaves had not yet grown, so Wang Yao knew that the rhizomes below definitely did not meet the requirements of the medicine. If he bought them directly from the medicine shop, the reward points would not be enough. If it really did not work, Wang Yao turned his head and looked at the ordinary herbs covered by snow outside. Under the watering of the ancient spring water, they grew very fast. The first 5 herbs were ready to be harvested. He had experimented before and found out that these herbs could be sold to the medicine shop in exchange for reward points, but he needed a lot of them. If it doesn't work, I will use them. However, Wang Yao was not in a hurry. He needed to think about it again. After thinking for a day, Wang Yao did not think of a better way, so he decided to try his own way first. The regather soup could consolidate the corporeity, which was good for the body and not harmful. The next afternoon, Wang Yao dug out a part of the Gladitsia vulgaris. The ground was frozen hard, so it took a lot of effort to harvest. Wang Yao was not in a hurry. He slowly dug out the ginseng one by one and then flattened the ground. In the process, he called Tian Yuan Tu and told him the result. He wanted to test the effect of the medicine. Tian Yuan Tu was very happy. It took Wang Yao 3 days to collect enough reward points. He exchanged for Shanjing and Guiyuan, which were needed to make the regather soup. Next, he needed to decoct the other herbs. Wang Yao did not have these herbs in stock. It seems that I have to go to town when I have time. It was close to the end of the year. Young people who worked outside came back to the village one after another. The village was also lively. It felt like the new year. Wang Yao's car was repaired and sent to town. He took the opportunity to go to Lianshan County to buy the common herbs needed to make the regather soup. Of course, the quality of the herbs he bought this time could not be compared with the quality of the herbs he Qixing brought last time. It was a waste to use them to match the 2 licorice roots. For this reason, Wang Yao also asked the place that sold the herbs if he could buy some better herbs. They said yes, but it would take time. So, Wang Yao paid the deposit and asked them to provide him with better herbs. At the very least, the herbs had to be wild. There were special instructions for several important herbs. Also, the deadline was within a week. Young man, do you know what good herbs are? Just get me some of the same herbs. In fact, the herb company liked this kind of customer. The profit of the common herbs was not as high as the profit of the wild herbs. For example, wild ginseng was divided into 8 grades. Not to mention ordinary people. Even professionals sometimes made mistakes, let alone a young man like Wang Yao. After leaving the herb company, Wang Yao did not rush back. Instead, he went to the supermarket and bought some clothes for his parents as a New Year gift. He also bought some things for the New Year, mainly candies. As for cigarettes and alcohol, he still had some at home. A few days ago, Tian Yuantu had sent some to his parents. Why did you buy these things again? I'm going to town in a few days. After returning home, Zhang Xiuying saw that Wang Yao had bought so many things. She muttered a few words, but still happily took them. After staying at home for a while, Wang Yao went back to Nanshan Hill. Although the sun was out, it was not bright. The snow on the hill also melted slowly. The newly grown leaves of the saplings seemed to have become a lot bigger. The trunks also seemed to be thicker. Grow quickly. When you grow up, the power of the battle array will be more powerful. Wang Yao went into the cottage and took out the herbs he had bought in town. Because of the enlightenment from the system, he could almost see these herbs at a glance. They were all artificially grown, and they were the inferior products. It was definitely not worth the price, but there was no better way. In the county, this medicinal herb company was the largest and had the most complete set of medicinal herbs. Moreover, the relative price was more affordable. This was not something that ordinary pharmacies could compare with. Let's put them aside first and wait for a while. Wang Yao put the herbs aside. He really did not want to waste the 2 licorice roots with these herbs. The more contact he had with herbs, the more he knew how precious the licorice roots were. They were not comparable to ordinary herbs. After about 3 days, he received a phone call saying that the herbs he wanted had arrived. He was asked to pick them up. Wang Yao immediately told his family and then drove into town. He came to the place where the herbs were sold last time. The person who received him was no longer the middle-aged man, but a manager with the surname Li. His eyes were not big, but they were shining. He had a smile on his face. At first glance, one could tell that he was a shrewd businessman. After seeing Wang Yao come, he was not in a hurry to get the herbs. Instead, he invited Wang Yao to sit in the reception room and served him tea. Manager Li, don't bother. Just get the herbs directly. Wang Yao saw the situation. Don't worry. Drink some water first. Brother, I spent a lot of effort for your herbs. You know, wild herbs are really hard to find now. Manager Lee sighed. Then I'll have to trouble you. Wang Yao smiled. He thought, businessmen value profits. This person should be a typical example. I just hope that there is no problem with the herbs. After chatting for a while, the manager asked someone to bring the herbs that Wang Yao wanted and put them on the table. In fact, a few herbs alone did not need to be so troublesome. However, Manager Lee felt that the young man in front of him might be a character. These herbs actually had some problems, but it was not serious. He was afraid that there would be a leak, so he specially came to entertain him. Chapter 81. These herbs were all wrapped in red boxes. They looked different from those common herbs. Wang Yao checked the herbs one by one. In fact, the two most important herbs were ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum. They had the greatest effect, and the corresponding price was also the highest. The other herbs were not as expensive. He looked at the ginseng in his hand. This ginseng was not a real wild ginseng, but a transplanted ginseng. It was grown by transplanting young ginseng from the field to the mountain. Although it was also very valuable, it was still inferior to the real wild ginseng. The difference was congenital and could not be made up later. The Ganoderma lucidum was pure wild, but the age was wrong. It did not reach the age required by Wang Yao. Manager Lee at the side saw Wang Yao looking at the herbs seriously. After waiting for a while, he couldn't help but ask, "How is it? I spent a lot of effort to get these herbs." "Well, I want these herbs." Wang Yao looked at the herbs for a while and put them down. "Hee, you have a good eye." Manager Lee gave him a thumbs up. "But the price needs to be discussed," Wang Yao said calmly. "What do you mean?" Manager Lee was stunned. "This ginseng is not pure wild. It is a transplanted ginseng. The age is also wrong. I want at least 30 years old. This transplanted ginseng is at most 20 years old." Wang Yao pointed to the ginseng. "This Ganoderma lucidum is wild, but the age is also wrong. I want at least 50 years old. This one is at least 10 years old." He pointed at the Ganoderma lucidum at the side. "As for the other herbs, I won't say much." Manager Lee at the side was stunned. He knew there was something wrong with these herbs. What the young man in front of him said just now was not wrong at all. Although he knew a little about these things, he was not proficient in them. However, he also knew that it was not easy to distinguish the difference between the real wild ginseng and the transplanted ginseng. If it was a coincidence once, then it was obviously a personal ability to distinguish correctly twice. The young man in front of him was so young, but he actually had such attainments in the judgment of herbs. It really surprised him. He was thinking about how to explain this to Wang Yao. Wang Yao sat quietly on the sofa. These herbs could be used together with shanjing and guiyuan to make regather soup. Although there were some differences, and it was not as good as what he had expected, it still met the requirements. However, if Manager Lee's price was still too high, then he would choose to give up. He had money, but he wouldn't spend it recklessly. Manager Lee's expression showed that he was struggling and hesitating. Originally, he wanted to grit his teeth and hold on a little longer. However, looking at Wang Yao's calm face, he knew that he had met an expert this time. "This price is 20,000 less than what we discussed." Manager Lee gritted his teeth and said, 20,000. Wang Yao said. Through the system's indoctrination and his daily study, he already had a rough estimate of the price of such wild herbs in the market. Even if there was a difference, it wouldn't be too big. Therefore, he had his own price in mind. After hesitating for a moment, Manager Lee said, "Okay." This time, Wang Yao paid without hesitation. "If you need wild herbs in the future, you can come to me again." Manager Lee smiled and said, although the result of this deal was much worse than what he had expected. In fact, he had made a profit. "Okay, I hope Manager Lee can be honest with me." Wang Yao smiled and said, "Absolutely not, I promise." Manager Lee patted his chest and said. Wang Yao did not stay long. He declined Manager Lee's invitation to have a meal together. He directly took the herbs and drove back to the mountain village and went up Nanshan Hill. Since he had obtained the wild herbs, then he didn't need to use the defective ones. It was time to make regather soup. In hike, In a villa by the sea, a middle-aged man was pacing back and forth in the living room. "What's wrong? You look uneasy." Sitting on the sofa, a graceful woman in her 30s looked at her husband. "It's been a few days, and he hasn't given me any answer," the man said. He was Tion Yuan too. At this time, he was a little upset about what his friend had asked him to do. "Can't you just call him and ask?" "Forget it. I'll wait for 2 more days." He picked up the phone and hesitated for a moment. "Is it about Haichuan?" "Yes, about his mother's illness. It's been a disease for more than 10 years. It's not easy to cure," Su Jiahui said. "Haven't you also been sick for more than 10 years? 2 doses of medicine will cure you. Then I'll wait a little longer." Su Jiahui didn't know why she had a special kind of trust in the young man in the mountains. She always felt that he could create a miracle again and cure the chronic illness of her husband's friend's mother. In the cottage on Nanshan Hill, Wang Yao prepared the herbs, but he was not in a hurry to make the decoction. He raised his head and looked at the sky outside. It was already dark. He came to the window and casually waved his hand. An antique scripture appeared in his hand. It was Natural Classics. He lowered his head and read the scripture in a low voice until the sky turned dark. The next morning, he took care of the herbal field and practiced. Then he began to prepare the regather soup, the herbs, the firewood, the ancient spring water, the multifunctional pot for herbs. Everything was ready. The sky outside was sunny. It was time to start. The fire was made. The firewood was burning. The multifunctional pot for herbs was placed on the fire. The herbs were added in different order. After a while, the smell of herbs floated out of the pot. The pot was boiling evenly. The medicinal components of various herbs diffused and blended into the ancient spring water. Wang Yao sat there quietly and added some firewood from time to time. All kinds of common herbs were added. The last 2 licorice roots were shanjing and guiyuan. These were the most important things. They were the finishing touch. The essence of the mountains and rivers strengthened the body and consolidated the guiyuan. The color of the decoction gradually changed. It looked like regather soup. Done. After tidying up, he put the decoction into a white porcelain bottle prepared in advance. The sun had begun to set outside. Time passed quickly. This was the experience he had accumulated from making decoctions these days. Ordinary decoctions could be made during the day or at night, in the morning or in the afternoon. However, the decoction given by the system was a little different. The ancients had to look at the time when they were doing something big, such as going to war or opening a business. In fact, it was still the same. It could be said that it was a superstition or a psychological reminder. It was the same for decocting medicine. This was a matter that consumed a lot of energy. The same prescription and the same herbs might have different effects when decocted in the middle of winter and in the middle of summer. The result of decocting medicine by a calm and energetic person might also be different from that of an impatient and disheartened person. Chapter 82. By the way, there's still a few herbs that I haven't planted. Wang Yao remembered that he hadn't finished the task of planting 3 licorice roots in the herb garden. A few days ago, he had planted a bag of seeds that he had gotten from the last task. It was still a licorice root called frostgrass. Frostgrass hibernates in summer and grows in winter. It can clear away heat and remove yang toxins. This licorice root was a reward from the system when he completed the task. It was a suitable time to plant it. In addition, he didn't have any other licorice root seeds. He had no other choice but to exchange them from the system. Because of his level, the licorice roots he could exchange for were limited. However, there were a few that conflicted with the ones he had planted. He referred to the catalog of magic herbs in his hand and chose a few. Stone flower grows in stone. It can dissolve all kinds of stones in the body. Iron plum blossom, flower like plum blossom. It is as hard as iron. It strengthens the muscles and bones. Dangyang flower, flower like fire. It is as bright as the sun. It can replenish yang qi. The 3 licorice roots were planted in the selected places and watered with ancient spring water. In this winter weather, if it was ordinary water, it would not take long for it to freeze. However, the ancient spring water was very magical. Not only did it not freeze, but it even melted the frozen ground and became soft as if the water was warm. Such a magical phenomenon made him feel a little emotional and amazed. The next day, he called Tian Yuan-tu and told him that the decoction was ready. He asked him to come and get it. Tian Yuan-tu came quickly. Within half an hour after receiving the call, he appeared in the mountain village and hurried up the hill. Although he came in a hurry, he still brought some gifts. "Didn't I tell you not to bring gifts?" Wang Yao said. He always felt sorry for receiving gifts from others. "Just some small gifts. Take them as an early New Year greeting to you and your family," Tian Yuan-tu said with a smile. "This is the medicine. Take it warm within 3 days." Wang Yao handed the regathered soup to Tian Yuan-tu. "Thank you. How much is it?" Tian Yuan-tu took it carefully. He knew how precious this small bottle of medicine was. "This decoction is free," Wang Yao said after a moment of silence. This was his way of repaying Tian Yuan-tu for helping him last time. Wang Yao had used his special right to send a dose of medicine every 3 days. A dose of medicine was originally worth 1,000,000 yuan. This was a favor. A debt of gratitude could be considered light or heavy. For someone like Wang Yao who valued friendship, the last thing he wanted to owe was a debt of gratitude. "Thank you." Tian Yuan-tu was stunned, and then he understood the meaning of Wang Yao's words. He had asked for medicine from Wang Yao, so he knew how magical the medicine provided by the young man in front of him was. He also knew how expensive the medicine was. The decoction in his hand was definitely not cheap. Since it was free, Wang Yao was returning the favor. "I'll visit you another day to thank you." "You don't have to." Task: get the approval of 10 people, patients or their families, within 10 days. Do not take the initiative to visit and do not repeat. The reward for completing the task is random. The punishment for failing the task is to take back the multifunctional pot for herbs. 10 days? Get the approval of 10 people? Seeing the task prompt, Wang Yao frowned slightly. This task was not easy to do. The main reason was that there was an additional condition, which was not to take the initiative to visit. This was equivalent to not being able to promote products and waiting for customers to come to him. There had been no task for a long time. It was a trap. Tian Yuan-tu still had things to do, so he did not stay on the mountain. Besides, it was winter. The cottage on the mountain was unusually cold. He had no interest in staying. He hurried down the mountain, even more anxious than when he arrived. After leaving the mountain village, he did not go to Lianshan County. Instead, he turned around and went to hike. The car drove very fast on the road. It showed that he was in a hurry this time. There was a special residential area near the sea near hike. The people living there were all powerful people in the city. After seeing Tian Yuan-tu's car, the armed police on duty made a phone call and let him in. It was not the first time that this car had come. They already had an impression of it. Tian Yuan-tu entered the residential area and then went into a villa. In the living room of the villa, an elegant man was waiting there. "Yuan-tu." "Hi, Chuan. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Let Annie have a try." Tian Yuan-tu took out the medicine that he had asked from Wang Yao from his carry-on bag. "Come up with me. Mom was just talking about you." The two of them went upstairs together and entered a bedroom upstairs. Originally, there was a heater in the villa, so it was very warm. However, this bedroom was even warmer than outside. There was an old woman in the room. Her hair was already gray, her body was thin, and her face was a little pale. She looked tired and didn't have much energy. In such a warm bedroom, she was still wearing a thick cotton jacket. "Annie, Yuan-tu, you haven't been here for a long time. Come and sit down." The woman was very happy to see Tian Yuan-tu. She pulled him to sit down and then asked him some questions. The elegant man next to them did not say anything. He just stood aside with a smile. After he finished asking, he started to talk about the medicine. "Mom, this is the medicine that Yuan-tu specially asked you for. Do you want to try it?" The elegant man asked softly. "Ah, you still haven't given up." "I'm sick. I can't get better." The woman sighed. "Annie, do try it. Maybe it will work." Tian Yuan-tu said softly. "Let's try it." The medicine was slightly heated with hot water. He poured a small cup of it, and the woman drank it. When the medicine entered his internal organs, he only felt a warmth. Then, it quickly spread to various parts of his body. His originally cold body seemed to have warmed up a lot. Moreover, he felt more energy in his body. He was not as lethargic as he was before. "Well, this medicine is effective," the old woman said with a smile. "It's good that it is effective. Take it warm within 3 days," Tian Yuan said. "Okay." Tian Yuan too and the elegant middle-aged man stayed in the bedroom for a while. Then they went out and went to his study. "How have you been recently?" Tian Yuan too asked his old friend with a smile. "I have endless things to do. It's almost the end of the year. I have to go out in an hour." "Is that so? Then I won't bother you." Tian Yuan got up and was about to leave. "Don't rush. You still have some time. Sit down. Let's talk." The elegant man stopped him. "You are thinner than when you came." "Yes, I lost a few pounds. When I first came, I was so busy that I couldn't sleep for the first few days," the elegant man said. "I'm much better now." Chapter 83. The two old friends talked for a while. Although they had been friends for many years, they had different statuses, so they had to pay attention to some things. Tian Yuan knew this. Tian Yuan stayed in the study for about 10 minutes before leaving. Not long after he left, the elegant man came out of the study. He was dressed and ready to leave. The driver was already waiting outside. Going out again, just as he was about to go out, his mother came out of the room. "Mom, why did you come out?" The elegant middle-aged man hurried to greet his mother. "It's boring to stay in the house all the time, so I came out for a walk in some fresh air. After drinking the medicine, I feel better. I have more strength and am not so afraid of the cold anymore," the woman said with a smile. "Is it really so magical?" The middle-aged man was surprised. Whether the medicine worked or not was one thing, but how fast it took effect was another. At first, he was skeptical about the efficacy of the medicine. After all, with his status, he had invited many famous doctors for his mother over the years. However, the effect was limited. At most, it could maintain the status quo and not get worse. After all, his mother was old. His old friend asked for this medicine. If it was effective, he would be very happy. However, after drinking it for less than half an hour, there was an obvious effect. This kind of effect could be seen in some Western medicine. Was it Chinese medicine? His impression had always been that the effect was slow and the side effects were small. He didn't expect this medicine to be so magical. "I'll tell Xiao Chun to come up and accompany you." "No, I can walk by myself." "You can go." "Okay." The middle-aged man went downstairs. He was still worried. He deliberately told the housekeeper downstairs and then went out. On Nanshan Hill, Wang Yao was looking at the licorice roots in the herbal field. He was slightly lost in thought. "This is strange. What's going on?" These days, he had been observing the licorice roots every day and carefully recording their growth. Through the recorded data, he found that the licorice roots seemed to be growing slower and slower. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. Without experience, he could only search for the reason from the knowledge instilled by the system. At the same time, he flipped through the catalog of magic herbs in his hand. In the end, he vaguely got an answer. There was not enough spiritual energy and soil power. In fact, this was the same as planting crops. There was a limit to how many crops could be planted in one mu of land. Because of the soil's fertility, there was a limit to the amount of organic fertilizers and fertilizers that could be used. It was impossible to increase it without limit. The so-called 10,000 caddies per mu was pure nonsense. Wang Yao's herbs were facing the same problem. They didn't have enough nutrients to support their growth. If they were just ordinary herbs, ancient spring water would be enough. But these spirit herbs needed spirit energy to grow. What was spiritual energy? The essence of heaven and earth, the fertility and vitality of the land and rivers, the pure and pollution-free air, and so on. To put it simply, the spiritual energy in a primeval forest was denser, and it was easier to breed exotic flowers and plants. It could also be understood as a place with rich vitality. In an industrialized metropolis, due to the severe environmental pollution, not to mention the planting of spiritual herbs, Even the growth and reproduction of ordinary flowers and trees would be affected. There was no spiritual energy to speak of. In other words, there was a lack of spiritual energy in this medicinal field, and the planting of spiritual herbs was restricted. If there wasn't enough spiritual energy, how could he change it? This was not a small project, right? He remembered the book, 5 Elements Formation. It was the most basic formation, but also the most basic thing. There might be some hints in this regard. With a thought, the antique book appeared in his hand. He had read this book more than 100 times. In fact, the things inside had been printed in the book, but he hadn't read it for a long time. He took it out to have a look. Originally, reading a book and reading memories were two different concepts. The 5 elements of heaven and earth were an ancient philosophical concept. It believed that everything between heaven and earth could be classified as one of them: gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. The scope of each element was extremely wide and included all kinds of things. Naturally, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth could be counted as one of them. He remembered that there was a description of this kind of formation, but it was just a description. There was no formation that he could use for reference. After all, this was just a basic formation book. It explained the most basic things. It was a little simple, but at least it was comprehensive. But since he knew the principle, there were some things that he could try. He flipped through it once and had a rough idea in his heart. He put the book away, then walked out of the hut and circled Nanshan Mountain step by step. He was already very familiar with this piece of land. This was because in the past few years, he would walk through this place almost 1,000 times. He was very clear about which places had weeds, which places had bigger rocks, and even which places had small holes. Nanshan Mountain was actually not that big. If he wanted to set up a formation, it would not be too difficult to gather spiritual energy from all directions. However, Wang Yao had another problem to consider at this time. The so-called spirit gathering was actually to forcibly borrow the spiritual energy from other places nearby. There was a balance between heaven and earth, and the same went for spiritual energy. If one place was rich, the other places might be thinner. Spirit gathering was just the worst strategy. The best way was to be able to live. Let this mountain, this place, produce spiritual energy on its own. This was better than spirit gathering alone, but it was also more difficult. It was more than 10 times more difficult, and the time required was quite long. It was something that could only be achieved by transforming the landscape of the mountain. Wang Yao stood at the top of the mountain, looked down at the mountain below, and surveyed his surroundings. First, gather spiritual energy, then create spiritual energy. He gradually had an idea in his mind. The next step was to plan and set up. This formation could not be done without trees, rocks, and streams. The trees were easy to plant, and the rocks were simple. They could be seen everywhere on the mountain, big or small. As for the water, it was a little more troublesome. In fact, there was a spring on a mountain, but it was intermittent, and the amount was not constant. Should he modify it? Moreover, this spirit-gathering formation conflicted with the slightly larger 5 elements illusory formation that he had previously thought of. He had to calm down and carefully think about it. That day, he had only set up a small formation around the small herb field that he was cultivating. It took him a few days to prepare before he could start. From start to finish, it took him no less than 10 days. The formation that he had to prepare this time was more than 10 times larger than the initial one in terms of scope. It was also more than 10 times more difficult and required a considerable amount of time to prepare. Chapter 84. Let's take it one step at a time. While Wang Yao was thinking about it, the sky had darkened. Night was about to fall. Wang Yao went home for dinner. It was close to the end of the year, so the dishes on the table were more sumptuous. "Mom, do you need my help?" Wang Yao knew there were more things to do at home as it was close to the end of the year. He had to clean the house, steam the buns, cook the meat, and cook the tribute dishes. He would be busy for a while. The year would be over if he was busy. "You don't have to. Your sister said she will be on holiday in a few days. Let's wait for her to come back and clean the house together," Zhang Xiuying said. "Okay." At night, in a quiet neighborhood near the seaside and hike, which was about 100 miles away, In a villa, a mother and son were sitting in the living room watching TV and chatting. "Mom, I think you look much better at night than during the day," the middle-aged man said happily. When he left home, his mother's face was still a little pale. Even in such a room, there was no color on her face. This was because the yuan qi in her body had been consumed too quickly. But now, there was actually some color on her face. Although she was still not the same as a normal person, this was already an extremely rare thing. Well, the medicine sent by Yuan Tu is really effective. The woman sighed. She was the clearest about the changes in her body. She hadn't even finished drinking the medicine. In just half a day, she could clearly feel that her body had undergone a huge change. This was something that had never happened in all these years. It made her both surprised and happy. It's good that it's effective. After you finish the medicine, I'll talk to Yuan Tu and ask him to find a way to make another one, the middle-aged man said happily. Well, ask Yuan Tu to come home one day. I'll cook a delicious meal for you. That's good. I haven't tasted your cooking for a long time. Seeing that his mother's body was getting better, the middle-aged man was also sincerely happy. The doctor who decocted the medicine is really amazing, the woman exclaimed. Well, he has some skills, the middle-aged man said. In a cold room on Nanshan Hill, Wang Yao was reading a book quietly. After a while, he put the book back into the box. Leaning on the bed, he recalled the mission he received during the day. He needed to think of a way to complete this mission. If he let nature take its course, he would most likely not be able to complete it. Furthermore, the punishment for failure was quite severe. After thinking for a while, he couldn't think of any good ideas, so he just went to sleep. The next morning, when he was still busy in the fields, he received a call from his mother. She said that his father had been coughing all night and had a sore throat in the morning. She asked him to make some herbal water for him to drink. When Wang Yao heard this, he immediately stopped what he was doing and went down the mountain to return home. When he realized that his parents were still busy at home, he took a look at his father. There was some inflammation and excessive internal heat. This was simple. Wang Yao went up the mountain and found a few herbs from the herbal field. He made a medicine to clear the throat and reduce internal heat. Then he went back down the mountain and gave it to the old man to take. "Dad, you've been smoking for the past 2 days. You should smoke less." "Okay," Wang Fenghua replied. Wang Yao helped his parents with some work at home. Then he went up the mountain again. "This kid has some knack," Wang Fenghua said to his wife when he was busy. "Knack? What knack?" Zhang Xiaoying stopped what she was doing and turned to ask. "He gave me the medicine. After I drank it, I felt my throat was much better," Wang Fenghua said. "Of course. You should know who gave birth to him," Zhang Xiaoying said proudly. Just when Wang Yao went back to the mountain and was busy, he was surprised to see visitors on the mountain. There were 2 people. He knew one of them. It was Yi Qixing, who had gone up the mountain more than once. Next to him was a young man who looked younger than him. He was quite handsome. "Hello, my name is Guo Zhenghe." When the young man spoke, Wang Yao knew who he was. He was Guo Sairu's younger brother, the young man who was poisoned that day. Thanks to Wang Yao's medicine, he got out of the dangerous situation. "I'm here specifically to thank you." Guo Zhenghe's expression was very sincere, but it was a little late for him to express his gratitude. Zhenghe went to school after he recovered. He didn't have time to come here. This time, after the holidays, he came here specifically to thank you, Yi Qixing explained. "You don't have to. This medicine has a price," Wang Yao said calmly. In other words, it was an equal exchange. He could either thank him or not. "While I was in the hospital, I also spent money. There was a price, but they didn't cure me. My life was saved by you. Naturally, I have to thank you," the young man said. "Haha, come in and have a seat." Wang Yao smiled and invited them into the house. San Xian, who was at the side, quietly watched the 2 people enter the house. "Please have some tea." Wang Yao made a pot of tea for them. "Hey, good tea. Is it Chiman black tea?" The young man took a sip and praised. "Yes. Brother Yao, is it okay for me to call you that?" Guo Zhenghe asked with a smile. "As you wish. You really know how to enjoy life. A friend gave it to me. I'm presenting it to Buddha with borrowed flowers." Yi Qixing sat aside. After taking a sip of tea, he looked out of the window in a daze. The cottage was empty and cold. Even though it was noon and the sun outside was not bad, the light shining into the room through the window brought a lot of heat. Guojinghe didn't stay for long and felt that the room was extremely cold. It was really unbearable. It's so cold in this room. Don't you have any heating equipment? Guojinghe asked doubtfully. I'm used to it, Wang Yao said with a smile. I admire you, Guojinghe said. Just based on the fact that he could stand the loneliness and the bitter cold in this mountain, he was not an ordinary person. You flatter me. Guojinghe and he Qixing stayed in the cottage on a mountain for a little more than 10 minutes. Guojinghe was curious to see all kinds of herbs. Wang Yao just pointed at the nearest common herbs outside the cottage. He didn't take them inside. The licorice roots he planted were inside. Under the cover of these common herbs, an ordinary person could be fooled. However, He Qixing was obviously not an ordinary person. He had considerable attainments in medicine. Wang Yao could see this through several contacts. Such a person needed space. After all, this was not an ordinary herbal field, and those were not ordinary licorice roots. Wang Yao didn't go inside, so the two of them naturally didn't ask more. In fact, they had a lot of questions to ask, especially He Qixing. In the end, they only said 2 words. I admire you. These 2 words were spoken by He Qixing. Chapter 85. In the middle of winter, everything withered and the surroundings were barren. Only this medicinal field was full of green and full of vitality. Most of the medicinal plants were ones that he recognized and knew their growth characteristics. They were definitely not evergreen like the pine trees. At this time, they should have withered and waited for the next year. But here, they were still green, completely defying the laws of nature. Outside, the trees that had been set up with the 5 elements array had grown leaves in a short period of time, and it was winter. Such a thing could even be described as a miracle. However, it happened in this small village on this seemingly inconspicuous mountain. Who was this young man in front of him? How could he have such amazing abilities? They did not stay on the mountain for too long. They said goodbye and left. Uncle He, what are you thinking about? You have been in a daze since you came down from the mountain. Guojinghe asked with a smile. Nothing. He Qixing shook his head. Thinking about what happened just now? That Wang Yao is really capable. Guojinghe said seriously. Yes. Can you rope him in? At this time, Guojinghe seemed to be a different person. The sunshine and brilliance on his face had disappeared. It was replaced by maturity and steadiness, and even a little scheming. This was a characteristic that did not match his age at all. Only people who were familiar with him knew that this was the true temperament of Child Gua. When Miss came to ask for medicine to save you, she promised not to disturb his peaceful life. He Qixing said, Sister, sometimes you are too straightforward and soft, Guojinghe said with a smile. He Qixing did not speak. He just frowned. He now regretted bringing the young man in front of him here. Grandpa's condition is stable. Is stable. Guojinghe sighed slightly. That's good. The most dangerous moment has passed. Next, it's up to us. It's a pity that we have to take one step at a time. It is really boring to accompany those guys in the university. I really want to graduate early. Other than them, no one else knew what they were talking about. Before leaving, He Qixing glanced at the small mountain and hut that were no longer in sight. He really wanted to tell the young man who was already in the car, don't have any ideas about Wang Yao, but he didn't say it. The time wasn't right, and his identity wasn't suitable either. Perhaps it's time to tell Mississippi, deep in his heart, he had a feeling that the young man on the mountain was definitely not as calm as he looked. That was just his normal state and emotions. If someone really angered him, anything could happen. After all, with such amazing abilities, how could he not have some powerful means to protect himself? After the guests left the mountain, Wang Yao began to think about his mission. When he opened the system panel, he was surprised to see the progress of the mission. Mission: obtain the recognition of 10 people, patients, or their family members within 10 days. Do not take the initiative to visit and do not repeat. Mission completion status, 3 out of 10. There were actually 3 of them. What was going on? The unexpected development surprised him. Could it be that the medicine I gave to Tian Yuan worked? Wang Yao could only think of such a reasonable explanation after thinking about it. This result surprised him a little. At the same time, he thought of a way. He couldn't take the initiative to visit, but he could leak some information. He could leak the information that he could cure diseases, starting with his own family and friends. During this time, except for his family members, Tian Yuan too, and a few other people, he hadn't told anyone that he could cure diseases and save people. The main reason was that he was afraid of trouble. But now that the mission had reached this step, he had to consider this matter. He could only disclose some information to people he trusted. He had no choice. His herbal field was really magical. The green in the winter, people with discerning eyes could tell that it was absolutely a reverse growth. Therefore, the fewer people who knew about it, the better. Should we start with the water? At night, when Wang Yao returned home, there were guests at home. He knew them. They were his relatives, his father's cousin and sister-in-law. Uncle, aunt. Hey, Yao, you're back. Your aunt's stomach is not feeling well. Can you take a look at her? Zhang Xiaoying said. Ah, Wang Yao was stunned. Didn't you say you could cure diseases? I met your aunt on the street this afternoon. She said her stomach was not feeling well. She went to the town hospital, but the examination didn't show anything. She just felt uncomfortable. Can you take a look at her? Zhang Xiaoying said. Okay, Wang Yao responded. He was secretly happy. He was thinking about this matter when he was on the mountain during the day. He didn't expect to have a chance so soon. Aunt, let me take your pulse. Okay, it was reasonable to say that the pulse in the morning was more accurate. Basically, there were no traditional Chinese medicine practitioners at night. Of course, some superb traditional Chinese medicine practitioners were an exception. Wang Yao had learned the method of pulse feeling and diagnosis, but he had never used it at night. He could only give it a try. Aunt, do you feel cold in your stomach? Do you have diarrhea when you eat? Wang Yao asked after carefully checking her pulse. Well, yes. Have you eaten anything special in the past 2 days? I haven't eaten anything, the woman said after thinking for a moment. Your aunt usually likes spicy food. She hasn't been avoiding it these 2 days. Okay. Wang Yao had a rough idea of what was going on. My aunt has cold in her stomach, which stimulates her gastrointestinal discomfort. How about this? I'll go back and make a prescription. You can come and get it at noon tomorrow, Wang Yao said. Okay. Thank you, Yao, said Wang Yao. It's okay. The couple sat for a while longer before taking their leave. After leaving the house, the woman asked, Do you think Yao is reliable? Didn't you want to come? The man said, He just grows herbs on the mountain. How can he make a prescription? He's just fooling around. Are you still coming tomorrow? Yes, after all, we are family. If you don't come, you will embarrass him. You shouldn't listen to your sister-in-law. Okay. After the couple left, Wang Yao went back to the mountain after eating. After returning to the cottage, he decided on a prescription based on the condition of the pulse feeling just now and the herbs in his herbal field. I'll decoct the medicine tomorrow. The next morning, after busying himself with the herbal field and finishing his practice, Wang Yao made a prescription according to the prescription he had chosen yesterday. According to the knowledge instilled by the system and the books he had read these days, he was probably more suitable to deal with common diseases. He could prepare herbs according to the disease. The effect could be seen from the medicine he made for his father to clear the throat. Chapter 86. It was just an ordinary decoction. The herbs were selected from the common herbs planted in his own herbal field. The quality had to be guaranteed, so it was not a big deal. He decocted 1 decoction and weighed 2 decoctions. At noon, he took the decoction down the hill. Mom, this is the medicine I made. You can give it to my uncle and aunt later. Wang Yao put the medicine he brought back on the table. This is 3 days' worth. It should be fine after it's used up. Just as Wang Yao was talking, the man who came yesterday came to the yard. Wang Yao gave him the medicine and told him how to use it. He also told him what to pay attention to when eating and drinking. Finally, he said a few words. Uncle, it's enough for my family to know about my prescription. Wang Yao was also thinking for himself. If too many people knew about his herbal field, his peaceful life would be disrupted. Although he had a task, it depended on who he was dealing with. Okay, The man took the medicine and did not leave. Instead, he asked more questions. How much should I pay? It's not for money. Let my aunt use it, Wang Yao said with a smile. It was not a prescription provided by the system, so it did not need to be priced. What? The man was stunned. One of the main reasons he had a problem with his wife yesterday was that he thought his nephew needed money to make the medicine. He did not expect that Wang Yao did not need money. It's just a few doses of medicine. It's not worth much, Zhang Xiaoying said. Okay. The man was slightly moved and surprised. After thanking Wang Yao, he turned and left with the medicine. Wang Yao did not take it seriously. You don't have a physician's qualification certificate. What if something goes wrong when you give a medicine like this? Wang Fenghua suddenly asked when they were having dinner. Yes, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have told Feng Shou about this. Zhang Xiaoying was shocked. She did not have time to eat. Okay, Wang Yao replied. In fact, Wang Yao had thought about this problem for a long time. The previous decoctions he brewed were given to very special people, and he also had a promise, so he was not worried about this problem. However, with the release of this task, Wang Yao knew that he would have to face this problem sooner or later. Now, without the relevant qualification certificate, it was like running a business without a license. If it was just growing herbs, there would be no problem. However, if it was selling the Chinese medicine prescriptions that he made, it would be a big problem. Without the relevant qualification certificate, the relevant departments could punish him according to the relevant laws, or even give him a heavier punishment. Therefore, this qualification certificate had to be obtained, but for Wang Yao, it was a bit difficult. First of all, he was not a professional, so he had to take another path, which was to be a disciple. He had to find someone with considerable qualifications to be her master, and then issue the relevant certificates. Then he had to show the certificate and work experience in the relevant units for a few years. Finally, he had to pass an exam. Dad, Mom, I have to take the exam for this qualification certificate, Wang Yao said, but don't talk about the fact that I can make decoctions. Just let our family know. Okay, just as they were eating, the man who took the medicine from him came home. His wife saw him come back with the medicine and asked, You're back. How much did it cost? I didn't spend any money. It was free. What? The woman was stunned. I didn't expect your nephew to be so generous. We're family. Why don't you try some of this medicine later? The man asked, Didn't I not let him drink it yesterday? Your nephew is a biology student, not a medical student. What if he drinks it and something goes wrong? The woman asked, Why don't you try some? He's being kind. What if it works? If it doesn't work, throw it away. The man thought that Wang Yao's family meant well, so he changed his attitude and thoughts. Okay, I'll try some. Let's eat first. After dinner, the woman warmed up the first decoction that Wang Yao had brewed and drank it. It didn't have a strange taste like the Chinese medicine that she had drunk before. It was hard to swallow, and she didn't have any reaction after drinking it. How is it? Her husband asked. This is not an elixir. How can it work so quickly? The woman glared at her husband. That's right. If you don't feel well, don't drink it. I see. He didn't expect it to come so soon. Wang Yao, who came out of the house, thought about the system prompt he suddenly heard when he was talking with his parents. Task: acting with a good reason, obtain a medical qualification certificate within 10 months. Reward: a medical book. Punishment: the ancient spring pot will be taken away. Any 2 attributes will be halved. 10 months sounded easy, but Wang Yao knew that the process would be very troublesome. Not to mention other things, the prerequisite of having a master was a hurdle. His master, who was nothing, would not be able to help him with this problem. Let's inquire about it first. In the afternoon, in the cottage, Wang Yao used his mobile phone to check the application conditions for the medical qualification certificate examination. He had no problem with a high school degree or above, but the relationship between master and disciple was a big problem. The contract had to be approved by the provincial department in charge of traditional Chinese medicine. Moreover, he had to follow his master for 3 consecutive years. The requirements for his master were quite harsh. The master had to have a senior position in the medical profession and rich clinical experience for more than 20 years. He had to be recognized by his peers. The description of noble medical ethics could be omitted, but the previous conditions were a bit too harsh. It's really harsh. I don't know how many inheritances will be lost with such conditions. Wang Yao shook his head and sighed. A paper and a certificate had both advantages and disadvantages. What should I do? I'll ask in a city tomorrow. In the afternoon, in a house in a mountain village. Your nephew's medicine is really effective, a woman said to her husband, who was busy in the yard. She drank the important medicine provided by Wang Yao after lunch. At first, she didn't feel anything special when she drank it. But now, after a few hours, she felt that her abdomen was now warm, as if there was a hot water bottle outside. It was very comfortable. Drink some more if it's effective. Okay. Hey, isn't your nephew studying biology? How can he make medicine? The woman asked curiously. How would I know? Maybe he learned it when he was in school. Isn't it possible to study cross majors in university? Really? The woman said. Why do you care so much? If it's effective, drink more. If not, throw it away. He's being kind. By the way, don't talk about it, the man said. Chapter 87. Why? The woman asked in confusion. Yao grows herbs to make money, not to do charity. If he starts to grow herbs, and everyone in the village asks for them, do you think he will give them to them or not? The man asked in return. We are all from the same village. It will be embarrassing if he doesn't give them to them. Besides, how much can he ask for? His wife asked. How much can he ask for? How much can he plant? Our walnut trees are doing okay, right? How much do you think will be left when all the villagers come over to ask for some food? It's not a lot per person, just 3 to 5. That's right. I've seen Yao's herbal field. There aren't many herbs left, the woman said after thinking about it. Well, we should keep this to ourselves. If you ask him to prescribe medicine in the future, you have to pay him. Okay, I know. I know what to do. Early in the morning, the sun was a little lazy. There was not much heat. Wang Yao woke up early. He took care of the herbal field and practiced his daily routine. Today, he was going to Lianshan County to ask about how to get a Chinese medicine practitioner's qualification certificate. There might be some differences between what was said on the internet and what was actually there. Furthermore, the regulations in each place might be different. It seems that these days have been a little peaceful and comfortable. Wang Yao looked at the green field and the saplings that had become a little thicker. The growth of ordinary herbs was far faster than that of licorice roots. The comparison between them was like the crops and weeds in the field. One grew slowly, while the other grew rapidly with a little fertilizer. This was not the result that Wang Yao wanted. However, he did not have a good solution. He could not just plant ordinary herbs, but only licorice roots. Firstly, he still needed these ordinary herbs. They could be used to make ordinary medicine in exchange for a certain amount of income. Most importantly, they could be used to cover and protect the rare licorice roots. These licorice roots might not be known to outsiders, but they could not fool experts, such as Hichishin. It wasn't an easy task to hide and not let it be destroyed. His trip to Lianshan County was not as smooth as he had expected. He went to the relevant departments and asked a few people. In the end, their answers were either that they did not know or that they gave different answers. Moreover, his attitude was not very good. He was somewhat arrogant and impatient. Perhaps it was because the spring festival was approaching, but they didn't seem to be in the mood for work at all. Some departments were empty before 10 a.m. When asked where they went, they said they had gone for a meeting. It's already so difficult to ask a question. I'm afraid it'll be even harder to do something. Wang Yao sighed. Helplessly, he called Wang Mingbao and asked if he knew anyone. After a while, Wang Mingbao drove over in person and took him to meet a friend. This time, the other party's reply was very detailed. He even specially gave him a form with the prerequisites for participating in the medical qualification examination. It was basically the same as what Wang Yao found on the internet. This experience reminded Wang Yao of a saying. It's easier to get things done with people in the imperial court. By the time the matter was clarified, it was already noon. Wang Yao treated them to a meal. During the meal, he even consulted him on some matters. Is there anyone who meets the requirements for this apprenticeship? This was the question Wang Yao was most concerned about. I'm really not sure about this, But I guess there aren't many who meet the requirements, the young man said. The requirements are relatively high. Moreover, you want to take the examination of Chinese medicine, so this is even rarer. In fact, in a small county like Lianshan County, there are only a few famous doctors. The people in the system should be familiar with them. Moreover, these famous people would not stay in the county for too long because they had the ability. Soon, they would be poached by the nearby hospitals that treated them better. After the meal, the person left. Wang Mingbao invited Wang Yao to his restaurant. He made a pot of tea. Why do you suddenly want to take the examination? This qualification certificate is not easy to get. Moreover, you don't have a professional background. It's even more difficult. Wang Mingbao asked as he poured the tea. Before coming to see Wang Yao, he had asked his friend in the car. This certificate was indeed not easy to get, especially for those who did not have a professional background. This qualification certificate, I must get it, Wang Yao said as he took a sip of tea. Not to mention that this was a task from the system, and the punishment for failure was very severe. In the future, Wang Yao would have to use this qualification certificate to prescribe medicine, treat diseases, and save people. With this certificate, it would be legal. Otherwise, it would be a legal business. Tisk, if it can be done in the county, we'll try to find a way. But it's already in the province. Hey, are there any of your classmates who can talk to you? Why don't you ask them for help? Wang Mingbao suggested. The province? Got it. Wang Yao's eyes lit up. He suddenly thought of a person. Guisairu. That day, in order to save her brother, Wang Yao asked for a promise from her. She would do her best to help him within her ability. Moreover, it seemed that Guisairu's identity was not ordinary. She was either rich or respectable. That day, she had invited him to play in Qi province. It seemed that her home was in Qi province. Should I call her and ask? I'll talk to my father later and ask him to think of a way, Wang Mingbao said as Wang Yao lowered his head and pondered. Don't be in a hurry to tell your uncle. I'll think of another way. If it doesn't work, I'll ask him for help, Wang Yao said. What trouble? Your problem is my problem. You don't have to treat me like an outsider, Wang Mingbao said. After sitting at Wang Mingbao's place for a while, Wang Yao saw that there were guests. He left and drove home. After arriving home, he called Guisairu. When she heard the call, she only said 3 words. No problem. Judging from her tone, she was very calm and relaxed. It seemed that this matter was not a big deal to her. Wang Yao asked about her grandfather's situation. She said that the situation was better than expected and that she had to thank him. They chatted for a while and then hung up. Is it really that simple? After hanging up the phone, Wang Yao was slightly surprised. Woof, woof, woof. Suddenly, there was a dog barking outside. What's going on? Wang Yao rushed out after hearing the sound. He saw San Xian squatting on the ground and staring at the bloody hare in a daze. Hare? Good. You can even hunt a hare now, Wang Yao said with a smile. Woof, woof, woof. San Xian looked up and barked at a tree not far away. Wang Yao looked up and saw the fly standing on the tree. There was blood on its claws and feathers. Obviously, it had just returned from hunting. He suddenly understood that the hare was caught by Goshawk and then given to San Xian. Is it Xia who gave it to you? Wang Yao said. The Xia was the name that Wang Yao gave to the goshawk that seemed to have lived here for a long time. Such a domineering animal should be given a domineering name. Caw! The goshawk on the tree cried in response. Chapter 88. Then why are you barking? I thought there was a thief. Wang Yao patted San Xian's head with a smile. Have you said thank you to the Xia? Woof, woof. San Xian pointed at the bloody rabbit meat with his paw and looked up at Wang Yao. What do you mean? Wang Yao was stunned. Oh, you don't know how to eat it, right? Wang Yao suddenly understood. You're used to eating dog food. Have you forgotten that dogs can eat meat? Woof. San Xian's voice was a little low. He stared at Wang Yao with a strange look. Poop picker, are you stupid? When have I ever eaten raw meat? In the end, San Xian didn't eat raw meat. Wang Yao took it into the house and put it in a bowl. He didn't forget to bark twice at the Xia in the tree, signaling him to come down and eat with him. It seemed that he was quite generous. The goshawk standing on the tree swooped down and landed beside the dog. It stared at the braised rabbit meat in the basin with some hesitation. The dog stretched out its paw and pushed the basin in front of the goshawk, telling it to eat first. "Well done, San Sien," Wang Yao sighed. "This guy is getting more and more clever. If it goes on like this, will it become a spirit?" Wang Yao looked at the shiny fur of San Sien and thought to himself. When it was close to evening, Wang Yao went home for dinner. He found that his mother seemed to be in a good mood. She was humming a little tune while cooking. "Mom, why are you so happy? Just now, your Uncle Fengshou came by. What's the matter?" "Thank you. You gave his wife the medicine. She didn't have diarrhea after taking one dose." Zhang Xiaoying smiled. "That's it. I thought it was something to be happy about." Wang Yao smiled. "This is something to be happy about. My son is so capable. I'm happy," Zhang Xiaoying said happily. Wang Yao was stunned and felt a little sad. Yes, parents are so easy to satisfy. In fact, as parents, they all hope that their children could be healthy, safe, and happy. That was enough. Even if they had to endure hardships, they wanted their children to live a lighter life. A little progress, a little achievement, or even a word of concern from their children would make them happy. What a pitiful parent's heart. "Mom, I'll cook for you," Wang Yao said as he rubbed his nose. "There's no need for that. Go inside and get warm. I'm almost done." That night, Wang Fenghua seemed to be in a good mood. During dinner, he drank an extra glass of wine. When Wang Yao unintentionally opened the panel to check the status of the mission, he found that the progress had changed again. It became 5/10, which meant that there were 2 more people. These 2 people should be Wang Fengshou and his wife. This was also the acknowledgement of the patient or family members in the system notification. In the early morning, the sunlight was a little pale. Mission Herb Garden. 3. Successfully plant 100 types of herbs within 30 days, and the number of spiritual herbs required is no less than 7 types, including the herbs planted in tasks 1 and 2. Reward: Catalog of Magic Herbs. Part 2, 1 prescription, 1 bag of herb seeds, and 1 skill point. Finally, it's done. After hearing the notification, Wang Yao was overjoyed. In fact, those licorice roots had been planted for a few days, but he did not hear any notification from the system. After his last observation, he knew that the soil in the herb garden was not strong enough. Although the licorice roots could grow later, it would take a few days. However, these days there was no news. Even the seeds of the licorice roots did not break through the soil. Although he watered them with ancient spring water every day, the effect was not as good as he expected. Today's belated notification made him heave a sigh of relief, and he also realized the problem. Such a big mountain could not support the growth of these licorice roots. Apart from the problem of the so-called spiritual qi, was it also related to the density of the plants? He had to study it carefully. The Catalog of Magic Herbs. Part 2 still recorded licorice roots that Wang Yao had never heard of before. There were 108 types of licorice roots in the Catalog of Magic Herbs. Wang Yao had planted no more than 10 types of licorice roots. These licorice roots were also divided into 3 grades, with 36 types in each grade. Most of the licorice roots planted by Wang Yao were of the lower grade. These descriptions and classifications were only briefly mentioned in the Catalog of Magic Herbs, Part 1, but in the Catalog of Magic Herbs, Part 2, there was a table with detailed descriptions and classifications. Wang Yao flipped through it and put it in the storage of the system. On the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month, the little new year, the kitchen god was worshipped. The Eastern kitchen god. This was the last festival before the spring festival, so the village attached great importance to it. The kitchen god was the head of the family and was in charge of food. Food was the most important thing to the people, so every family had to worship him. They hoped that the heavens would say good things and that the lower world would be safe. On this day, Wang Yao went to town to pick up his sister. Wang was quiet in the car. She was not as chatty as she used to be. She looked sick. "What's wrong, sister? Are you not feeling well?" "Yes. I had dinner with my colleagues last night and had diarrhea," Wang Ru said. "Have you taken any medicine?" "Yes, but my stomach is still not feeling well," Wang Ru said. I'll prescribe some medicine for you when we get home, Wang Yao said and stepped on the accelerator. They arrived home soon. Wang Yao checked his sister's pulse and found it was not a big problem. It should be a stomachache from eating something. She just needed to recuperate for a while. Good, you're good at pretending. Wang Ru sat down and drank some hot water. She seemed to have recovered some energy and began to show off again. She felt her brother's act of checking her sister's pulse was quite convincing. It should not be a problem for her to fool others. Who did you learn this from? Is it that old Chinese medicine doctor whose whereabouts are unknown? I'll go up the hill. Wang Yao did not say much. He got up and walked up the hill. On the way, he quickly browsed through the knowledge bank stored in his mind, searching for the medical and medicinal knowledge. It didn't take long for him to find a usable prescription. Then, he combined the two together and found a prescription for the herbs that he was planting in his own medicinal field. The winter night always came early and left late. On Nanshan Hill, the light in the cottage was on. The fire rose, the spring water was boiling, and the smell of herbs filled the air. Wang Yao was decocting the Chinese medicine. Crackle, crackle, crackle. The sound of firecrackers came from outside. Some people had begun to send the kitchen god to heaven. They would invite him back on New Year's Day. It's done. Wang Yao saw the changes in the multifunctional pot for herbs and knew the decoction was ready. He took the pot and poured the decoction into a white porcelain bottle. He then cleaned up and went down the hill. Chapter 89. When Wang Yao returned home, the meal was ready and the whole family was waiting for him. Here you are. Drink a small cup of this medicine half an hour after dinner and finish the rest tomorrow. Wang Yao waved his hand, and a white porcelain bottle appeared in his hand. He handed it to Wang Ru. You came up the mountain to do this? Wang Ru asked in surprise. Yes, this medicine should be taken warm. Be careful when you eat. Don't eat spicy, greasy, or cold food these days, Wang Yao said. Will it work? Wang Yao thought that his sister would be touched by his kind intention of making the decoction for her sister. However, he did not expect that she would doubt him. She was so sad. I'm just kidding. Don't worry, Yao. This is poison. I'll drink it too. I'll test it myself. Wang Ru patted her chest and said with a trembling voice. Wang Yao was speechless. Poison? Although he did not use licorice roots, the herbs in his herbal field were all top grade. At most, there would be some side effects. How could it be poison? Don't worry. The medicine made by your brother is very effective, Zhang Xiaoying said. Really? Have you taken it before? Wang Ru was surprised. No. 2 days ago, Feng Shou's aunt had a stomachache. She went to the hospital for a checkup and didn't find anything wrong. She came here and asked for 3 doses of medicine. After taking the first dose, it worked. She didn't have diarrhea anymore and her stomach felt better. She even came here to thank us. Zhang Xiaoying was very proud when she heard this. Really? Yao, when did you become so capable? Wang Ru was surprised. You'll know whether it's true or not after dinner. This medicine has no side effects. You can drink it without worry, Wang Yao said after taking a bite of the dish. Because of the discomfort in her stomach, Wang Ru ate very little, even though the table was full of carrying meals. She wanted to eat very much, but her body did not allow her to. Besides, Wang Yao did not let her eat too much. About 1 hour after dinner, Wang Ru heated up the medicated hot water and drank a small cup of it according to Wang Yao's advice. The medicine was warm, and a stream of heat flowed into her stomach and then spread. She only felt that her stomach was warm, as if she had put a hot water bottle on the outside. It was very comfortable. It seems to be working. She looked at Wang Yao in surprise. Of course, Wang Yao said calmly. This kind of thing was indeed not difficult for him. If you have the ability, why don't you just become a doctor instead of planting herbs on the mountain? I don't have a medical certificate. Then let's go take the exam. I'm thinking of a way. Seeing his sister's eyes suddenly brighten, Wang Yao couldn't help but wonder if he had added something wrong to the prescription. Next time, he should add some medicinal herbs with calming and calming effects to his sister's medicine. New Year's Eve. Are you still going up the mountain? After dinner, the family sat together and chatted. Wang Fenghua lit a cigarette and asked, Yes, Wang Yao said after thinking for a while. You also go on Lunar New Year's Eve. I'm not going, Wang Yao said with a smile. Well, I thought you were possessed. At night, Wang Yao left home after 9 p.m. The street lights in the village were still on, but when he reached the south of the village, there were no lights. It was dark. The road in the village was not as good as the road in the village. It was not hardened, so there were some potholes. After these days of practice and drinking ancient spring water day and night, Wang Yao's physical fitness had been greatly improved. Basically, he could walk in the dark as if it was daytime. Therefore, he walked very fast at night. He activated the neishi in his body, so his walking speed was faster than a normal person's jog. It did not take long for him to reach Nanshan Hill. The shape of Nanshan Hill was like a standing boot. One side was slightly steeper in the middle, and the other side was steeper. Because it was in the south of the village, it was called Nanshan Hill. Such a terrain was not suitable for planting crops except for saplings. However, the north side of Nanshan Hill was full of rocks. It would take a lot of effort to plant trees densely. Therefore, no one had contracted this place. When Wang Yao contracted this place, he was young and energetic. Besides, it was indeed cheap to come here. Wang Yao's cottage and the herbal field were on the gentle slope in the middle. After spending a night on the hill, the next day he took care of the herbal field and practiced as usual. On the rocks on the top of the hill, he practiced according to the method listed in natural classics. He felt that the qi in his body seemed to have increased a little compared to a few days ago. Everywhere he went, he felt warm and comfortable. I wonder what is the difference between this and the qi in novels and movies. That day, Wang Yao cleaned up the herbal field on the hill and told San Xian and De Xia to take care of the herbal field. When he went down the hill in the evening, he sealed the entrance of the herbal field. The simple magic array of 5 elements was no longer visible. Wang Yao had thought about it. The spring festival was coming in a few days. In the first few days, he definitely couldn't stay on the hill for a long time. Although he wouldn't go to Nanshan Hill unless it was an unusual task, he still had to take precautions. When Wang Yao went home at noon, he found his sister was looking at him strangely as soon as he entered the house. What's wrong? Let me tell you a piece of good news. My stomach is fine. The medicine you made is quite effective. Of course, I'm a pharmacist. I'm good at curing all kinds of diseases, Wang Yao said with a smile. Well, our director's father was diagnosed with terminal cancer a few days ago. Do you want me to introduce you to him? Wang Ru said very seriously. Sister, hurry up and eat. I have to send you to work later. Wang Yao turned and walked into the house. Little guy. After lunch, Wang Yao drove Wang Ru to work in Lianshan County. Because it was not holiday time yet, Wang Ru was not feeling well. She took half a day off. She was just in time for the spring festival, so she went home. Yao, tell me the truth. Are you really going to take the exam? Wang Ru asked very seriously in the car. Yes, I have to get it. Wang Yao said. He had the ability to cure diseases and save people. The only thing he lacked was an identity within the law and a piece of paper to prove it. I will ask someone to help me ask. You don't have to worry about this. I've already asked someone to help me. You should hurry up and find me a brother-in-law. It is less than a week before the spring festival. Shut up. After sending Wang Ru to work, Wang Yao wanted to take the opportunity to wander around the town. Perhaps because it was close to the spring festival, there were a lot of people on the street, especially on the streets in the county. Therefore, he decisively gave up the idea. As soon as he drove out of the town, he received a call from an acquaintance. He Qixing. Chapter 90. He Qixing called Wang Yao and asked him where he was. He wanted to ask Wang Yao for some documents to apply for a qualification certificate. He heard that Wang Yao was in the county, so he arranged to meet him somewhere. Wang Yao arrived at a cafe early. He chose a seat by the window. After waiting for less than 10 minutes, He Qixing arrived. After sitting down and chatting, Wang Yao found out that he came to Lianshan County to help Wang Yao with this matter. This is the thing you mentioned just now. Wang Yao handed him a bag. Inside it was a photocopy of his ID and a personal photo. My graduation certificate and degree certificate are at home. I need to go back to get them. There's no hurry. You can send me an electronic version later. With these, I can prepare them for you first, He Qixing said. Do you need me to go to Qizhou? No, it's not difficult. It's just a little troublesome. He Qixing smiled and said, Before I came, Miss specifically told me to finish this matter as soon as possible. However, this is only the premise. You still have to rely on yourself for the exam. Before the exam, I will give you some information to look at. Okay, thank you. It's my pleasure. Miss said that she owes you 2 big favors. 1, Wang Yao replied. If Miss said 2, it means 2. I know what she means. I'll definitely find a way to get the qualification certificate for you, He Qixing said. Thank you in advance. Originally, Wang Yao wanted to treat him to a meal to express his gratitude. However, He Qixing said that he had other things to do. He left after drinking a cup of coffee. Originally, it was a very difficult and troublesome thing for Wang Yao. However, it seemed that it was not particularly difficult in the hands of some people. During the conversation, just now, he looked at He Qixing's expression and listened to his tone. In his eyes, this matter was just a little troublesome. Just a little troublesome. It was good that he could get it. Wang Yao heaved a sigh of relief, not only because of the system quest, but also because of his future path. After driving home, Wang Yao went up to Nanshan Hill. He carefully cleaned up the herbal field, especially the few kinds of spiritual grasses that could be covered. Most of these spiritual herbs had just sprouted, and their heads were exposed. Moreover, they were in the medicinal field, and if one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't notice them at all. Just take some hay and cover them up. After finishing his work, Wang Yao returned home to help prepare for the new year. Yao, come with me to your grandma's house tomorrow. All right. The next day, Wang Yao accompanied his mother to his maternal grandparents' house to deliver some gifts for the new year. His maternal grandparents were in good health. Wang Yao had visited them a few days ago to take their pulse and prescribe medicine. They were old and had some problems. There, Wang Yao met his uncle. He didn't look very good. What's wrong? You drank too much again. Wang Yao's mother knew that something had happened. Wang Yao also knew that his uncle didn't have any other problems. He just liked to drink and was a little greedy. This year, the factory was closed early, so he went back to his hometown. He drank a few meals in a row. His stomach couldn't stand it, and he had a headache. Grandma, do you have honey at home? Wang Yao asked as he looked at his back. Some of the hunchbacked elders asked. Yes. Do you want to drink honey, Yao? No. I want to boil something to sober him up, Wang Yao said. What? In the house, Wang Yao's maternal grandparents and uncle were all stunned. Wang Yao didn't say anything. He turned around and went to the kitchen in the west. Suddenly, there was a flash of light in his hand. It was a piece of Ganoderma lucidum. This was the wild Ganoderma lucidum he bought from the county town last time. It was used to boil regather soup. He bought more Ganoderma lucidum at that time in case he needed it. Because it was more expensive, he stored it in the storage space provided by the system. He cut the Ganoderma lucidum into small pieces with a knife and put in a pot to boil. What are you doing? Zhang Xiaoying asked curiously when she came to the kitchen. I'm boiling Ganoderma lucidum with honey. It's good for the liver and detoxifying the alcohol, Wang Yao explained while cooking. Ganoderma lucidum had been a treasure among herbs since ancient times. It had many effects. It could calm the mind and replenish qi, protect the liver and detoxify. If taken for a long time, it could prolong one's life. Some novels even said that it was a magic herb that could make one fly and become immortal. After the Ganoderma lucidum was boiled, Wang Yao went back to the house to talk with the 2 elders. His uncle was leaning on the Kong because of his stomach. About 2 hours later, it was noon. It was time for lunch. Wang Yao estimated that it was almost time. He took out the boiled Ganoderma lucidum water, mixed it with some honey, and asked his uncle to drink it. Will this work? His uncle was obviously a little doubtful. Whether it works or not, drink it. You'll know after a while. After drinking it, his uncle felt bitter in his mouth and hot in his stomach. He didn't feel anything else. The discomfort after drinking too much did not disappear immediately. No effect. This is not an elixir. It will take effect immediately after you take it, Uncle, Wang Yao said with a smile. The mother and son stayed at Wang Yao's grandma's house for lunch. Because of his discomfort, Wang Yao's uncle didn't eat much. He only ate some steamed buns and vegetables. Then, he leaned on the Kong and let the heat burn his body. He didn't know if it was because of the heat or because he drank the Ganoderma lucidum water, but he felt a little better. After lunch, the family sat around the Kong and chatted while eating melon seeds. Yao, are you still planting herbs? Wang Yao's grandma was a kind old woman. Yes, Wang Yao said. What are you planting? I'll find time to ask if anyone wants to buy them. Wang Yao's uncle, who was lying on the Kong, asked. No need. I've contacted them. Wang Yao replied. He would never worry about the sales of the herbs he planted. He wouldn't sell most of them. Decocting decoctions not only required licorice roots, but also high-quality common herbs. The herbs he planted met the requirements. It was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon when Wang Yao and his mother left his grandmother's house. Hey, Yao is quite capable. Wang Yao's uncle, who was lying on the Kong, suddenly said not long after they left. What's wrong? Wang Yao's grandpa glanced at him. I feel much better. The middle-aged man, who was lying on the Kong, rubbed his stomach and shook his head. Since he drank the Ganoderma lucidum soup at lunch, he felt that his stomach wasn't so uncomfortable after a while. His body also felt lighter. It was indeed effective. Isn't Yao studying biology? When did he know how to make decoctions? You should drink more. Don't drink so much in the future. Okay. Although the middle-aged man agreed, he felt that according to the situation, it shouldn't be a problem to drink another 2 cups at night. Chapter 91. After returning from his grandpa's house, Wang Yao rested at home for a while before going back to Nanshan Hill. This morning, Wang Mingbao suddenly went to Nanshan Hill. Hey, how come you have time to come here? Wang Yao asked. I came to ask you something. What is it? My grandpa may have caught a cold these 2 days. He has a fever and coughs. He can't sleep at night. Can you get some herbs for him? Didn't you tell me last time that you can cure diseases? Wang Yao didn't hide the fact that he could cure diseases from his good friend. Didn't you get the herbs? I did, but it didn't work well. He got hot in the afternoon. I came here to take a look. Do you have any phlegm? Yes. Okay, sit down and wait for a while. I'll take a look, Wang Yao said. It didn't take him much effort to find a suitable prescription for the old man's disease, but the effect was average. Do you want to add something to it? He couldn't sleep at night. Got it. He still had some moonlight grass, which he didn't use. This licorice root absorbed the essence of the moonlight and had an extraordinary calming effect. It should play an important role in the medicine. I'll make a prescription for the old man. Can you come again later? No, you can bring it to me when you go down the hill in the evening. No, it's not auspicious to send medicine to your house before the new year. You don't believe in these things, but the old man does. Wang Yao was thoughtful. How long will it take? More than an hour? I'll wait for you here. Here? Are you sure? Wang Yao asked with a smile. Yes. Good. Wait here. I'll make you a cup of tea first. Wang Yao made him a cup of black tea and began to decoct the medicine. In less than 10 minutes, Wang Mingbao began to regret his decision to stay here. Looking at Wang Yao, who was concentrating on brewing the medicine, he admired his brother even more. It was so cold, but he was so engrossed in brewing the medicine. Unknowingly, he also leaned over, not out of curiosity, but because there was firewood burning here and it felt warm. A peculiar medicinal fragrance soon drifted out of the multi-functional pot for herbs. That's it. After smelling the fragrance of the medicine, Wang Mingbao asked curiously. This was the first time that he had observed Wang Yao's decoction up close. It seemed to be a little different from his grandma's decoction process. It's still early, Wang Yao said. When the medicinal fragrance wafted out, it meant that the medicinal power of the herbs was beginning to spread out and fuse into the medicinal soup. The flame burned slowly, and the medicinal soup boiled slowly. Wang Yao sat there like an old monk, adding firewood from time to time. As time went by, the medicine was almost ready. Or rather, according to the prescription, it was ready. There's one last herb left. Wang Yao put 2 leaves of moonlight herb into the pot. The jasper-like leaves melted as soon as they touched the water. Seeing this, he quickly took the multifunctional pot for herbs away from the flame. It's done. After the medicine was ready, It was put into a white porcelain bottle, as usual. This is the first time that I've seen you brew medicine. I feel that you're like an artist. Wang Mingbao praised from the bottom of his heart. Haha, let's go back and try on your grandma. Take it warm and drink it 3 times. Okay, shall we go to my grandpa's place for dinner tonight? No, I'll go home. My family is waiting for me. Okay, thank you. Wang Mingbao took the medicine and went down the hill. When it was close to evening, Wang Yao also went down the hill. The next morning, when Wang Yao was still busy in the field, he suddenly heard the prompt of the system. Task: get the recognition of 10 people, patients, or their families, within 10 days. Do not take the initiative to visit, and do not repeat. Task completed. Completed? What's going on? After hearing the prompt, Wang Yao was stunned. The sudden prompt made him a little confused. It was not because he was happy, but because he was shocked. He had never thought that the task would be completed at this time. Didn't he need to get the recognition of 10 people? Wang Yao recalled his experience in the past few days. It seemed that there were only a few people who could meet the requirements of the task. The uncle and aunt from the same village were 2 people. The medicine that Tian Yuantu took should also have taken effect. He did not know how many people there were, but there should not be too many of them. Wang Mingbao's grandpa should also be one of them. The medicine that he gave to him yesterday had taken effect. In this way, there should only be 7 or 8 people who could meet the requirements of the task. After a short period of confusion and shock, he returned to calmness. In any case, it was a good thing that the task was completed. The reward for completing the task was a little disappointing for Wang Yao. There were no seeds, no prescription, only experience points and more reward points. It seems that the experience points have increased a lot. I will be able to level up again soon. After the task was completed, Wang Yao was a little relieved. He was worried about how to complete the task, but it was magically completed. The next 2 days were spent in the process of going out. He was a junior, so he had to go to some uncles and aunts' houses to pay a New Year's greeting. During the period, he went to Lianshan County to pick up his sister, who was on holiday. Suddenly, the house became lively. In this busy way, it was New Year's Eve. He put up the word Fu and Spring Festival couplets to prepare for the new year. In the morning, Wang Yao helped with the things at home and went to Nanshan Hill. He also put up the word Fu on the cottage on Nanshan Hill. He also gave the dog and the goshawk some food. I won't come over tonight. I'll leave this place to you guys. Woof, woof, woof. The dog responded loudly. Don't worry, Poop Picker, leave it to us. Caw. The goshawk also barked as a response. Thank you. He rubbed the dog's head and then touched the goshawk's feathers. Happy New Year in advance. After walking around the hill, Wang Yao went down the hill. Before night fell, the crackling sound of firecrackers could be heard outside. The family talked and laughed happily. After dinner, they sat together to watch the New Year's Gala. Although many people said that the New Year's Gala was getting less and less creative every year, most people still chose to watch the New Year's Gala. The excitement was secondary. What was important was the feeling and the atmosphere. In the evening, they texted and called to wish them a Happy New Year. Wang Yao unexpectedly received a call from Tong Wei. She specifically called Wang Yao and his family to wish them a Happy New Year. Wang Yao was stunned. After Wang Yao hung up the phone, Wang Fenghua asked, Tong Wei, is it the girl you met in the hospital? Yes. Well, I think the girl is good. Do you have a boyfriend yet? Well, I don't think so. Definitely not. If you did, you wouldn't have called him, Wang Ru said. If you like her, you should hold on tight. Sis, shouldn't you call your colleagues and leaders? Don't always get involved in other people's business. The girl is good. If she really has a boyfriend, you have to hold on tight, Wang Fenghua said. Chapter 92. Wang Yao didn't say anything. He lowered his head and ate melon seeds. Seeing this, his family did not continue to dwell on this matter. New Year's Eve dinner was a reunion dinner. They stayed up for the new year and ate dumplings. For the past few days, Wang Yao rarely slept at home. The next morning, after getting up, he first paid New Year's greetings to his parents and sister, then to his neighbors and relatives in the village. It was already noon by the time he finished his visit. After lunch, Wang Yao went up the mountain again with a big bag in his hand. There were meat dishes and dumplings in it. Seeing him go up the mountain, the dog and the goshawk were very happy. The dog wagged its tail and circled around him. The goshawk also flapped its wings happily. "You know I brought you delicious food, don't you?" Wang Yao poured the food into 2 bowls. "There's meat and dumplings here. You probably don't like garlic and wine." He did not care whether the dog and the goshawk understood or not. When he was serving them rice, he smiled and spoke. After preparing the food for them, he walked around the mountain again. After watering the medicine field, especially the few slow-growing licorice roots, he went down the mountain again. When he returned home, there was nothing to do. He lay on the Kong and watched TV. He used his mobile phone to surf the internet and chatted with his family. Before he knew it, it was dark again. Time passed so quickly. That night, Wang Yao did not go up the mountain. The next day, according to the customs of the village, they went to the tomb to worship the ancestors. Wang Yao's grandmother passed away a few years ago. His grandfather passed away a little later and was buried on the mountain in the east of the village. Early in the morning, Wang Yao's 2 uncles returned to the village from outside with their family. Every year, they would come back on the 2nd day of the new year to visit the tomb and have lunch at Wang Yao's house. Shanglin, on Dongshan Mountain, there were 2 tombs where the deceased ancestors were buried. Burning paper, holding a memorial, setting off firecrackers. They hoped that they would have a better life on the other side. They hoped that they could bless future generations with peace and success. This was a beautiful kind of sustenance and hope. After visiting the graves, the families gathered at Wang Yao's house for lunch. Wang Yao's father had a total of 4 brothers. However, his second uncle had passed away a few years ago due to myocardial infarction, even earlier than his grandfather. It was a classic case of a white-haired man dying before his own. This was also the biggest reason for his grandfather's death. He couldn't bear the blow of his son's death. His second aunt remarried with her child. Since then, she had less contact with him, and their relationship faded. A few years ago, his cousin would still call during the new year and come back every year to pay respects to his father. However, in the past 2 years, not only did he not come back, he did not even call twice a year. Wang Yao had seen his father take the initiative to call his cousin and hang up after saying a few words. He's become a member of another family. This was Wang Yao's mother's evaluation. That cousin, Wang Yao often played with him when he was young. He was a person who didn't like to talk, but was somewhat stubborn. The last time they met was 3 years ago, also during the new year. He had come back once, and the 2 of them had a few words. However, they were no longer as close as before. As they were far away, their relationship faded. He didn't know what it would be like when they met again in a few years. Wang Yao's 3rd uncle and youngest uncle both liked to drink. Wang Yao's house now had some good wine. As the new year approached, Tian Yuan Tu, He Qixing, and Wang Mingbao all sent good wine. Wang Yao's father and the other 2 drank and chatted. "I'm not going to work in the factory next year. I'm going to start a small business." The one who spoke was Wang Yao's youngest uncle. He worked in an agricultural machinery factory. In the first few years, the work was quite tiring. However, the company later raised funds to invest. A few years later, the company's owner was kind enough to raise the capital and interest by nearly 20 times. As a result, he made a small fortune. His life also improved, and his ideas jumped out. Seeing that other people were making money quickly by doing business, he was a little envious. "I think you're doing well in the factory," Wang Yao's father said after a moment of silence. "I only earn 2,000 to 3,000 yuan a month. It's not enough to spend." His youngest uncle took out a Yushi cigarette from his pocket. 3,000 yuan is not enough to smoke Yushi cigarettes, Wang Yao said to himself. "I want to do barbecue. I've already chosen a place," Wang Yao's youngest uncle said. Barbecue was very profitable. Think about it. Half a kilogram of pork was less than 15 yuan, but barbecue could be sold for nearly 30 yuan. However, in business, it depended on the person. Some people earned what they did, and some people lost what they did. Hardworking, active, and knowing how to give up small profits, small business may not be better than small business. "I think it's good for you to work in the factory honestly," Wang Yao's youngest aunt said. You know nothing. His youngest uncle glared at his wife. Think about it carefully. Business is not so easy to do, Wang Fenghua said. I've asked around. The cost is not high. It's just renting a place. If you do well, you can earn more than 100,000 yuan a year. Wang Yao's youngest uncle said excitedly. Yes. Wang Fenghua did not say anything. He just sighed slightly. Wang Yao's third uncle was a man of few words. He wore glasses and looked very gentle, but his head was very bald. He was 40 years old this year, but he did not have a child. He had seen a lot of places, but it was not effective. This was also the worry of the husband and wife. At noon, there was a little too much wine. Whether it was his youngest uncle or his third uncle, it was obvious that they were drunk. Why don't you leave the car here and let Yao drive you? No, it's okay. No matter how Wang Yao's family persuaded, his two uncles insisted on going back. His youngest uncle drove a van, and his third uncle rode a motorcycle. The two of them staggered on the road. Just by looking at the car, one could tell that they were drunk. It's like this every time, Zhang Xiuying said. Yao, follow them and see if there are any problems. Wang Fenghua was still worried. He told Wang Yao said, Okay. Wang Yao drove and followed them. His youngest uncle and his third uncle lived in different places in Lianshan County. After drinking, they drove and rode very fast. This made Wang Yao worried about them. It was not good for anyone to have an accident. It was not only one person, but a family. Fortunately, there were no problems along the way. His two uncles and family members returned home safely. Wang Yao also drove home. They have all gone back. As soon as they entered the door, Wang Yao's father asked. After all, they were brothers. Although he was a little angry, he still cared about them. Yes, they have all gone back. It's okay. Don't worry. Wang Yao smiled. He knew that his father actually cared about his two uncles. That's good. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.